For this week's episode, Austin and Tim travel back in time to July 7th, 1982, which was the peak of the summer movie season. The 6 movies they watched were the frowned-upon theatrical cut of Ridley Scott's iconic sci-fi film Blade Runner, the pooed-upon sequel to a 1978 blockbuster, Grease 2, Jack Nicholson in a little-known grim character drama, The Border, Al Pacino cast against type as a loving father in Author, Malcolm McDowell in a modern retelling of Cat People, and capping off the evening with Julie Andrews in Blake Edwards' musical comedy Victor Victoria. You want energetic musical numbers? We got it. You want groundbreaking special effects? We got it. You want great performances from some of the best actors in film history? We got it. You want thrilling action set pieces? We got it. You want monstrous people trying to form incest? Well, we don't want it, but we have that too, here on Film Geek Time Machine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Film Geek Time Machine. I'm your host, Austin Kennedy.
I'm Tim Kaiser. I'm sorry, I was going to sing because of the singing in one of these movies.
There's a singing in a couple of these movies.
Yeah, singing in a couple of movies, yeah.
Welcome to Film Geek Time Machine. This is the podcast where Tim and I have a time machine and we go back in time to random dates, and this was a random date this time. Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it.
No, it was.
You're the master of dates, Austin.
I do random number generator. Yeah.
You do it all. Okay.
And this date is July 7th, 1982, the heart of the summer movie season in 1982.
Yes.
And then what we do is we'll look at the newspaper, and then we pick 5 to 8 movies usually. This time we picked 6 movies to do a movie marathon where we go to different theaters and theater hop and see various movies and we talk about them. So that's what we're doing.
Thumbs up.
Yay.
Thumbs up movies.
Okay. There are a couple.
Some of these movies.
So the time period, so 1982, going back to this time period was pretty cool. So I was almost 6 years old.
Wow. You're so old, Austin.
I was almost 6.
82?
82.
I was in middle school, I guess.
Yeah.
I wasn't in high school yet.
Yep. I was about to do first grade, so I just finished kindergarten. This school year, but I was already going to movies, so I've seen.
Well, I wasn't any school; it was middle summer.
Oh yeah, right. No, but I finished kindergarten, and then.
Oh yeah, that just suddenly makes me think about 82. I turned 14.
Yeah.
Those summers are fucking magic. When you're growing up.
Yeah.
There's no school. You're old enough; you can do anything you fucking want. Except for
in 82, it was the height of the arcades, so it was Pac-Man.
Oh yeah,
Donkey Kong came out that year.
I grew up in small town Wisconsin. Our arcade didn't last very long. I don't know if it was around at that point.
Okay.
There was a while, but it was not a big enough city to hold an arcade.
So the popular songs, "Don't You Want Me" by the Human League was the number 1 song. Rosanna by Toto.
Oh yeah.
Hurt So Good. I'm not a big John Cougar Mellencamp, but Hurt So Good.
Hurt So Good's okay.
Heat of the Moment, Asia.
Heat of the Moment, Asia.
I don't know if I remember that song. I Had the Tiger, though.
You fucking know Heat of the Moment.
I'm sure as soon as I hear it, I'll know.
And you'll also punch yourself in the face because that song is friggin' magic.
Eye of the Tiger, because Rocky 2 came out. Rocky 3 came out. Yeah.
Let It Whip is a lot later than I thought. That actually seems disco-y to me. But I guess it's like post-disco.
Ebony and Ivory, Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder. Tainted Love. Yeah, there's some good ones. Do I Do?
God, it's all
Abracadabra by the Steve Miller Band.
I don't know. That's actually one of the ones I wasn't a big fan of.
Keep
but
the
also,
fire burning.
I've had the things happen where I'm like, I didn't like that when I was younger, and hear it now, I'm like, I don't know why I didn't like that. Maybe it's just because I hate everything now. Okay.
So it was pop music, but Alabama had a country.
Alabama had a couple of crossover hits.
Yeah. So
where's their Alabama? Where is it?
It's right there. Take Me Down.
Take Me Down. Okay.
I don't know if
I don't know that
I'm
one.
sure.
I
I'm
know,
sure.
I know Roll on 18
sure you-
wheeler. That's
sure
a good
you-
one. I think that's
Anyway,
all
so
that
that was the popular music at the time, and then on television. Yeah, this is kind of a weird thing to read. I'm looking at the
Wow.
paper right now.
It's astonishing. When we go to different years,
It's-
they've completely changed the layout, and it's illegible sometimes.
It is. It's kind of hard to read. So I think we have.
This is actually every
okay.
half hour, and if something lasts an hour, they just put it in there twice.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
Well, I'm looking at the afternoon here, or the evening. So the Greatest American Hero,
Yeah.
Fall Guy, Dynasty.
Oh, Fall Guy. Fall Guy was cool.
Oh, Fall Guy was
they're
great.
making a Fall Guy movie.
Yes,
You know that?
yes, they are. Facts of Life. This is not syndication. That was actually Love Sydney, which was a Tony Randall sitcom, lasted 2 seasons maybe.
I don't know
Quincy,
that one.
that must be the Klugman.
Real People.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved Real People when I was a kid.
So yeah, that was cool. And then what do we got? Oh, there it is. The Croft Hour. They have the Croft Hour. Sid and Marty Croft.
Oh my God!
That's
That's
is.
what you were talking
in
about.
82,
that.
yeah.
There
The
was
Space Coaster.
Space Coaster.
That was a kid's show. This is in the
But
mornings.
just regular shows.
Flintstones,
Dick Van Dyke was
Casper.
on at one point.
Yep. Oh, Electric
God,
Company.
I love Dick Van Dyke show.
Mr. Rogers.
That's one of my favorite
Is 321 Contact on there? I don't see it. I see Electric Company.
3-2. I don't know.
Not well.
I don't know. I think that was just a weekend thing.
No, it was
Was
on.
it? I
Yeah.
don't know.
And then, cause I remember watching it after school. Okay, so that's what was on there. Oh, and then curious, I wanted to look in video games too. So that's what I was saying. Released in 1982 is Pole Position, Dig Dug,
Galaga.
Galaga.
All
So
these are
all the
things.
Classics.
Time Pilot.
Yeah, I don't know. That
I don't know what Time Pilot
Mr.
is.
Do, Donkey Kong Jr. And it's kind of neat to see like what the highest ranking best-selling video games. E.T. was actually number 5.
Well, best selling for like Atari, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that tells you.
Well, it tells you what it was from.
Publishers.
And then Coleco, that's the 2600.
Coleco, 82. Yeah, Coleco was around. and so it
Frogger,
was
Asteroids,
actually a big
Pitfall
deal.
was one that I played a lot.
Frogger
at my grandparents.
works fine.
I
on
didn't
the
have Atari.
Atari.
My grandparents did. So
We
I
didn't
played
have an
over
Atari either.
there. Did you play it at friends' houses?
I have a friend. We ended up getting a different knockoff thing.
Okay.
Not the Sears thing. That Sears thing, which was just Atari.
Right.
They called it the Sears or whatever, but I could play all the Atari games.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to go back to the paper to see what was shown. Okay, so we're looking at here. There's a huge ad for Tron. We didn't see it because it started Friday. We went on a
Started
Wednesday.
Friday. I would have
So
happily watched it.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about the half of that movie that's mind-blowing and the other half that's kind of boring.
Oh, I actually like the whole movie. I'm a big fan of
It's just,
Tron. I
yeah,
really
it's
like
not bad or anything. It's just that maybe as a kid I always thought that first half hour where they're not Tron yet, I'm like, I don't fucking care.
I think when I was
Oh,
6,
you went to the arcade. I'm like, none of those games exist, so I don't
now,
care.
I actually did see a lot of these in this, so I know I saw Tron at least twice in the theater.
I saw Tron, definitely.
E.T. I saw, and E.T. was out too, so I
Yes.
saw E.T. like at least 3 or 4 times.
in the
theater.
E.T. was really scary. For the
Oh, yeah,
beginning
no,
of
there's
it,
some
it's
suspense,
really
for sure.
scary.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
before you actually meet E.T.
Right, the first time I saw it, when I
and
saw it
E.T.
another
is
time. but-
fucking weird-looking freako when you first see him too.
well, the first time when you see him, when they're in the bushes, and then
Yeah.
Elliot is, I guess we're reviewing E.T.
It's actually,
Let's get-
I would remember being terrified.
Well, no, because he sees E.T. and then E.T. does that, and then Elliot starts screaming too. So it's pretty.
Yeah.
It is pretty freaky.
It was really freaky.
No, I'm actually, it's one of my favorite movies. I love E.T.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
E.T. is
fantastic.
E.T. is a masterpiece.
What else was out
Actually,
that we didn't? Yeah,
since
yeah.
we're going to season finales,
Yeah.
we're going to specific opening dates of movies that were really important.
Yeah.
We need to go see the opening date of E.T. That was at one
E.T.?
point was the biggest movie of all time.
It
for like
was
15 years until
It was.
Titanic.
It was a long. Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. Other movies that we didn't see that came out. There's tons of classic, iconic films. So Poltergeist, E.T. Like I said,
Yeah.
Rocky 3 was out.
Rocky 3 is actually, you're not wrong. That one is iconic.
It's iconic because
as I've called it, the best of the bad Rocky movies.
It's I mean, it's completely 80s. It is totally different than Rocky 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's totally
better or worse.
Yeah, it's in many Rambo's ways, where Rambo is a very different movie than First Blood.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan.
My favorite.
Annie.
I'm going to give Star Trek 2 4 stars right now. Okay?
And then we didn't see it. John Carpenter's The Thing, which was a huge flop when it came out.
It was a huge
but it
flop.
is. It's a
and
great
I've actually
movie, yeah.
seen modern reviews from some stupid punk kids who say, well, the effects don't hold up. And I'm like,
Oh.
you got fucking bad eyes. You need to fix your fucking eyes.
That's some of
'cause
the best
effects in that
practical makeup effects
are
ever. Yeah.
creepy.
It's
now,
amazing.
granted, there are definitely periods. There are times where they tried to do stuff like that and it doesn't hold up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
none of that shit held up even at the time. Sometimes they just don't work. Okay.
Other movies that were out were Diner, which was a pretty popular movie when it came out. Megaforce, which we almost saw, but you said you kind of saw it recently.
I've seen it at least twice.
That's a bad movie. I have a bad movie poster of it.
Yes, it is a bad movie, and it is the right kind of enjoyable bad movie. But whatever. Well, maybe we'll see some other time.
Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. We almost saw. That's Steve Martin.
We had a lot of
Stripes.
options. It's 82. There's a shit ton of options.
On Golden Pond.
We picked some weird options.
Porky's. Chariots of Fire. Firefox, which was a Clint Eastwood big movie.
Which you, at the time you actually told me it was surprisingly long. I think
it's 2 hours 15 minutes.
That's longer. That's longer than a movie like that should be. That should be an hour and a half movie.
Well, no, a James Bond movie. It kind of feels like a James Bond movie.
Does
James
it really?
Bond movies are it's like an espionage spy movie.
Oh, okay.
No, it's good. I like Firefox just fine.
I haven't seen it. I don't know. I assume I've seen it. I probably saw all the Eastwoods.
Another movie was Hanky Panky, which was directed by Sidney Poitier, and it was a buddy action romance starring Gilda Radner and Gene Wilder.
That was very possible. We should have seen that.
I would have liked to see that eventually someday. Bambi was out as well. Cannonball Run.
But that was a re-release of Bambi, right?
Oh, yeah, it's always. It's 1942 when it came out. Okay, what we did pick, though, so we did actually pick some iconic movies.
We picked a couple of iconic movies.
So we did. So we are seeing Blade Runner. Now, the reason why I wanted to do Blade Runner...
this is 100% your choice.
Yes. The reason I wanted to do this is because this has been talked about, every which way on podcasts and YouTube videos and stuff. But using the time machine, we're watching the theatrical cut, which is different than what's widely available.
It's the only thing we had the option to see.
Right.
Because that's how time travel works.
Right, and I've never seen the theatrical cut, and I've always been curious to see it. So it is different, and so we'll talk about that.
Although what we should have done was bought a Blu-ray and some type of Blu-ray player, made it somehow project that, like, the better versions.
Right.
And then have people go like, wow! And then when they talked with their friends, they're like, what are you talking about? That never happened!
Yeah, right. We just took over the screen. No, anyway, so Blade Runner, the theatrical cut, is what we'll be talking about. We'll also be doing Grease 2, which was a notorious flop. A bad movie when it came out.
We're going to do this review. It's called Telling You Why.
And then I picked this one because it's a movie that's not really talked about as much, and I saw it once before. It's Jack Nicholson in The Border. It's a character drama thriller. And then Author. I said it right. Author.
Yeah, that's the last time he's going to say it right. He'll fuck it up.
I always say Arthur. And I said Author.
I think we found a showing of Arthur in here somewhere.
Arthur
right there.
Yeah.
We could have wanted if we had done them both. I would have rolled in the whole time we were recording.
So Author is an Al Pacino kind of like Kramer versus Kramer type drama about him raising kids. Cat People is the remake of loosely remade 1940s horror film.
We'll talk about when we get there.
And then lastly, we went to the drive-in to see the last feature of Victor and Victoria, which I've never seen. Victoria. It's a Blake Edwards movie. Mm-hmm. It ended up becoming a pretty big success, and it also spawned a Broadway show, which Julie Andrews also starred in the 90s
didn't know that.
At the age of 60. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. She's
No, that's awesome. No, I'm saying
quick review. She looks fucking fantastic.
Yeah, Julie Andrews is awesome.
She's probably 50.
Yeah, she was close to 50 in this film. She was like 47 when she did it. Yeah. Anyways, so some big movies to talk about, and yes, we'll go right into Blade Runner. So, my experience with Blade Runner was I saw it first when I was in high school.
Okay.
So I was probably 9th or 10th grade.
Me too, but then again, that was like a year after it came out.
Right. So I saw it. It was probably I probably saw it in like 91, 92 was the first time I saw it.
But you had never seen this version.
No.
You had only ever seen
the
one of these
cut.
15 other versions.
So in 90, around
That's not the director's cut.
Right.
No. The director had little to do with anything until the one that came out in like 2014.
It was the final cut, but it was called the director's cut.
Yeah, but
it was based...
horrible eyes.
So what happened? What Blade Runner was it was a movie, and it screened and it flopped. Like it did get 4 test
just
screenings.
Like the sequel flopped.
Right.
But I haven't seen it, but it's apparently fucking magnificent.
I haven't seen it either. I need to. But it had 4 test screenings, so the studio made Scott and Harrison Ford put some voiceover narration and tacked in a happy ending. There was a work print that was kind of out that was supposedly better, which didn't have the narration, didn't have the ending.
I looked at all the versions
Right.
of Blade Runner, and that is technically the first version of which, you
Right.
know, 100 people saw.
So what they did was the someone oversaw the work print and called it the director's cut in the early 90s. So that was kind of the version that everyone saw. So that's the version
Yeah.
I saw
Okay.
when I first saw it in high school. And
It basically is this without the narration, and the end is
Yeah.
different.
Yep.
You'll have to tell me what the
I
end
will,
is.
I will.
I can't 100%
Yeah.
remember what the original.
Yep.
Not the original. That version. Of
Yeah.
the end is.
So I've always now. Have you seen this before?
Yes, I had seen Blade, but it would have been like the 90s.
Okay.
The last time I saw it was like
So,
the 90s.
I probably-
But also, we live in 2023.
Yeah.
The world is still made of memes. And
Yeah,
so we all know.
No,
we know the speeches.
Yeah,
we know
yeah.
all that shit that happens in there.
So I've seen this. I've probably seen this like 50 times.
50-50?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I probably saw it 3.
Because-
that includes the time I just watched it.
because it was we watched it in film school. It was a lot of film classes that I
Yeah.
took. There's a lot of analysis for this film. It's one of those films that I really appreciate. And I really liked it. And so that's why I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about.
Yeah, no,
the theatrical
it
cut.
actually made sense.
So
Because the director's thing.
because it is one of my favorite sci-fi films, and seeing the original director's cut was a 4-star movie. So
This is going to be 2 very different takes because you've seen it so many times and I haven't seen it in
right.
30
So this
fucking
is going to
years.
be like, whoa, watching it for the first time, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I knew like most stuff. I knew about the happy ending. I knew what the happy ending was.
Yeah.
That the happy ending is. Apparently we're not going to really do a synopsis because we don't know if like a Blade Runner go to hell. Okay. But in the thing is the Sean Young replicant who didn't know she was a replicant.
Yeah.
Also in the happy ending is the only replicant who doesn't. No, actually, old replicants in this did not have expiration dates.
Yeah.
Only the most modern,
Yeah.
fancy ones
The Nexus
that might
6 or
think
whatever.
they're people
Yeah.
have. It's literally fucking the most horrible torture in the world.
Yeah.
This universe is filled with monsters.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, she has they all have 4-year extensions, except for she's a special one, which you only find out in the narration. He told me, not in the movie anywhere, that she's a special one without an expiration date. I get to bang this hottie forever.
Well, the idea of the narration was because a lot of people were confused of the movie, and I'll go into a little bit about that.
Here's
So
the thing.
they kind of tack that.
Watching it with the narration, I'm like, I can see certain things that the narration actually don't hurt sometimes.
No.
There are certain aspects.
Yeah.
Because when he first meets the other like Blade Runner or cops or whatever the fuck they are,
Yeah.
they speak complete nonsense gibberish.
And he explains why.
And he explains that it's just some type of like hokey language that that's a mix of like English and
I thought that was kind of
Japanese and
interesting. I
stuff.
didn't know that.
And I'm like,
yeah.
that is cool. And I guarantee if you didn't see this, you have no fucking idea what the fuck is going on with that. Okay?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go about the premise. If you
Yeah.
don't know what Blade Runner is, it takes place in the future 2019 in Los Angeles.
That's right. And and there's numerous times people say, I was born in 2017, and I'm like, I forgot when this took place. That is silly. Okay?
It is. So Deckard is Harrison Ford's character, and he is a Blade Runner. What a Blade Runner is, so in this future there are these replicants that they made, and they're kind of used to serve, they're androids to do labor and whatnot.
But it seems like it's what it used to be.
What happened? Yes.
These are like assassin ones or something.
Well, because what happened is some of the replicants
They're
started.
Terminators.
Some of the replicants, started to revolt, and so Blade Runners were developed to go and kind of take, retire the replicants, which is terminating
the
them.
term Blade Runner and what that's supposed to mean, where it comes from.
It just sounds fucking cool.
It sounds cool. I'm a Blade Runner, and I'm like, do you have a knife? No? Okay, whatever.
Are you running with a blade? What's going on? No. So he's an ex-Blade Runner. He's kind of retired or whatever, not doing anything, and he gets brought out of retirement.
Not ex very long.
No. Because he gets brought in because these 4 replicants are and they're kind of their Nexus 6, the new model, so they are stronger and they are more defiant.
It makes somewhat sense, at least, that he's supposed to take out them because they are attempting to kill people.
Oh, absolutely.
But later on, he's informed he has to also kill the Sean Young one, and I'm like, she's not killing anybody.
Right, but that's the thing.
Just let her live until she croaks in a couple of years.
Right. So he's a Blade Runner doing that, and so he is pretty much it's almost like kind of modeled after like your standard police procedural where you're going around like,
Yes.
he's doing detective work. He's going to the crime scenes.
Yep.
He's looking at videos, which actually, even though it's kind of dated technology, it's kind of cool of him. Like,
It's cool.
He's like, okay, zoom into this picture over here
Well,
by 30.
yeah,
Boop, boop, boop,
that
boop, boop,
was
pick it, yeah.
that was cool, except for if it had looked just slightly better. I'm like, that at least makes sense. But I'm like, you can't keep zooming in forever, even now. Okay,
No, right. No, it's 2019. It's the future. You can do
2019,
anything.
you can zoom for eternity. I mean, actually, in like
yeah.
5 years, you can use AI, and the AI will just like
Probably.
make up shit. Okay.
But what? So the replicants, yeah, they're killing. So they are killing people, including they have Rutger Hauer plays Roy Batty, and he's the leader of them.
Yes.
And what they're trying to do is they're trying to they're trying to extend their life by talking to their leader. The Tyrell is the Tyrell Corporation, and they're trying to break into there to get there, and they failed to attempt to do it. So now they're trying to use this one toy maker named Sebastian, who is he has contact with Tyrell, and so Daryl Hannah, who is one of the replicants, pleasure model, tries to kind of seduce him and try to get him in to get buddy with him, so then she will take him to Tyrell and Rutger Hauer as well. So that's kind of the premise of the film. And there's also Sean Young's character. So she is working at the Tyrell Corporation when Harrison Ford goes to chat with Tyrell to find out more about the replicants. But he's like, here, do this test. And they do this weird like retina scan test on replicants, and it usually takes
Is it the retina scan? It was a questions test.
Right. But they have like a little thing
there's a
where they're
retina
looking
thing
at
too.
the retina thing.
And periodically, the eyes in this.
Well, I think it's what that gives them away. I think
So,
in the
I mean,
test.
but I mean, also sometimes in the movie,
Yeah.
you can see a replicant and their eyes reflect their light in
Which
a
is-
weird
which looks
camera
pretty
way.
awesome.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how they fucking did that in 1982.
Yeah.
It looks really fucking cool.
Right. And so anyway,
Actually, I would say 95% of the effects in this hold up
Oh.
almost perfect.
oh, I think so too. Yeah, for sure.
There's very seldomly where there's some
No.
rear screen shit, but
That's about it. Yeah.
But even that looks better than it normally does.
Oh, absolutely. But so yeah, Sean Young, she is a replicant. She doesn't know she's a replicant.
Yeah.
And so
She
then
figures it out.
right. So then she goes, but she's curious. So somehow drawn to Deckard's character. It wasn't really that clear, to be
That's
honest.
because I know. Apparently, in this version, he's not a replicant. He's obviously a fucking replicant. Okay? He's obviously just.
So
a
it was
replicant that doesn't know
it's
he's a
kind of
replicant.
alluded to in the director's cut that he is. It's not.
Well,
clear,
it's
super
when
good.
Rutger Hauer saves him in the end.
Yeah.
It's obviously their only possible explanation because he literally is a murdering monster.
Yeah.
And for some reason he saves him.
Well, the
and then
narration, he's like,
and
well, I
then
don't know
like
why
dawns-
he saved my life.
Yeah, and I'm like,
blah, blah.
I know why.
Um,
He doesn't kill replicants.
But yeah, anyway, so that's what's going on there, and there's some kind of weird love thing going on with Deckard and Sean Young's character. And then there's also the other two replicants are Brian James, who plays Leon, and then Joanne Cassidy, who in our fourth appearance she was in The Late Show, she was in Club Paradise, and she was in The Package. So this is her fourth one, and she's the one with the snake dancer. She's with dancing with
it's really cool.
The
That
replicant.
snake thing is actually like, I don't know if she was like they used drugs to make her just not care, but I'm like, it's a fucking snake. You should be at least somewhat concerned. That snake's fucking huge.
It'd be fun to interview her to ask how
And
they
that
did
is
it,
the
yeah.
weird thing where then I can't afford a real snake, and I'm like, real snakes are more expensive than the replicant snakes?
My guess is in the future maybe they're rare. They might be extinct.
That's
that's
4
probably-
years ago, Austin.
I don't know. No, it's 2019. It's the future. So yeah. So watching this version. So like I said, I consider the original Blade Runner or the Blade Runner that I have seen a masterpiece. It's really good.
Yeah.
Watching this because I've seen the other one, some of their narration did bother me once in a while because what the version that I have seen that people are known to have seen now, kind of the final cut version, it's very meditative. It has this kind of drony like feel to it. It has a weird vibe, and the narration breaks that up.
Yeah, and actually, because that's the stuff that I had heard so much is,
Right.
oh, it can be somewhat of a slog, and I'm like, oh, this wasn't a slog, but mostly because I actually don't hate the idea of the narration.
I don't hate the idea either. Some of the writing's not good.
Yeah, it's not
in
good.
it.
But a lot of it is, the first time I hear it was literally where he explained the language stuff, and I'm like, oh that's cool.
Right. And
I'm like, if there had been more stuff that like told
Yeah.
me about the history and stuff,
It also
that would
kind
be
of
cool.
fit because it kind of gave this kind of futuristic film noir feel
Yeah.
to it. Like it was Saturday night. It was a rainy night. Blah blah blah. You know, it's like stuff
it
like
seems
that.
early on he doesn't seem to be as weird. By the end, there's like a good 40 minutes where he doesn't do any narration.
I would say
and
the
then right
narration
at the end,
is-
I'm like, I almost got a feeling for that final narration
Yeah.
when he said the
Yeah.
freaking hokey bullshit. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
boy, he really fucking hates this now.
Yeah.
He
hated doing this.
He read this.
Yeah.
He read that bullshit at the end and goes, this is fucking stupid.
So he denies this, but it was rumored that he tanked the reading so that hopefully they wouldn't use it.
oh, okay.
He denies that, but
Because
I
he wanted to continue to have millions of dollars.
yeah.
Okay.
So with that being said, still seeing that in the theater, still seeing the narration. Now, okay, here's the ending. So the ending in this one, it's he goes to get Sean Young, and they leave, and then they go out like they're
They're driving away, I
Right,
guess, in one of their
well, they
weird
go into the elevator. Well, he finds that
Teslas.
Well, he finds that origami that the other guy made.
Yes.
And then he walks into the elevator. That's where it ends in the final cut.
Yes.
It ends right there.
Well, here's the thing. In this, I knew about the origami because it's fucking the future.
Right.
Okay, so I know about all that shit. But actually, I also knew that the origami plays a different role in different versions of this movie.
Yes.
In this, it literally is just informing him that his buddy, other Blade Runner, had been here
Edward J.
and then
Olmos.
didn't
James
kill him.
Olmos. Yeah.
Didn't kill her.
Yeah.
Okay? But in actuality, in this movie, when I saw it, I would go like, if I didn't know any of that, I would think that the other one's around here, and this is just telling him, you might want to duck because I'm going to fucking blow her head off.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
That's what I would have thought originally, but I'm like, but I also know I knew about the hokey bullshit ending, so I'm like, well, maybe he kills this thing. Nope.
So the
narration says
now what happens?
He didn't kill her.
After they get out of the elevator, they're driving off, and it's like finally you get to see like sunny skies, and it's like green pasture around them or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just says like, oh, and the narration says something like, oh, I don't know how long we have together, but who does? And then that's kind of the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So it's not that much different. Really, it didn't
It's
bother
a very
me as
happy
much.
ending,
Yeah.
and it is somewhat of a cop out. But
It
also,
is.
I mean, it feel like they could have still had the happy ending if they had just written it somewhat better and said at some point in the movie that the expiration date was only on the aggressive models and not the hot ones you want to fuck. Okay.
So I feel like if I would have seen this my first time, I don't think any of that stuff would have bothered me. I still would have loved it.
I definitely know there are a lot of people that this was the first time they saw it and they said, that's fucking amazing. And then they saw the other ones and I'm like, still amazing, but I fell in love with it with the narration.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with fucking narration.
Well, I didn't have a problem, and I wouldn't object to watching it again. I prefer the final cut, but I wouldn't object to watching it again. I didn't think it ruined anything for me. So
no,
let's talk
I
a
thought
little
it was
bit.
still a fantastic movie.
Okay, so you like it a lot.
I still thought it was.
Oh, it's so good. So I want to talk about Harrison Ford, really good in the movie.
Yeah.
He's really good. Obviously, he's coming right off of Han Solo and Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
like this was
it's
his
a
next
very
movie.
different thing.
Oh, absolutely.
When does he do Witness? Which is the only time
3
he
years
was
later.
nominated.
3 years later, yeah.
That's also a different thing from all these other ones.
Yeah.
Well, it's similar to this in some ways, I guess.
I think so.
Because he's like FBI or
But yeah,
something.
and
but
he's not the most likable character either in this movie. There's that scene when he like grabs Sean Young, and he's like, kiss me, and that got a little weird.
It got a little weird.
But I don't think you're necessarily supposed to like him either. So.
But I think this is a world where you're just supposed to assume replicants do what you fucking tell them to do. They're not people.
Right.
It's 100%
right.
replicants aren't real.
Yes.
Even though they're pretty fucking real.
Yeah,
okay?
for sure. The opening scene I love. So I'm a big Brian James fan. Brian James, he has a really weird look to him. That's Leon. So he's the guy that when he's doing the test, he's like, What do you mean? What do you mean the turtle? What's a tortoise? And then he's getting all upset about it. And then when he shoots the guy, you're like, holy shit!
Cool.
No, I love Brian James. He's a great.
That was the opening.
Actor.
That's the opening of the movie.
Yeah,
where he's taking his. They're testing him to see if he's a replicant. But I'm like, also, isn't he from like another planet and stuff?
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
All this stuff.
I wasn't sure exactly what that was.
And that was not. They didn't really use the eye thing at all. It was literally just like a verbal test.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll take like 30 questions. And I'm like, okay.
And obviously, all of the world building in this is what really makes this good because the movie takes its time to just show you just shots of just the city, which kind of, it looks like it's a lot of like Chinatownish kind of
it's
things
definitely
going on.
future Chinatown kind of thing.
And
They're all the cars fly.
Yeah.
It's Back to the Future Part 2 to a degree.
Right.
Except for in New York, except for, suburb LA or whatever the hell they live in.
Well, this is LA too, but
okay. But more of the big city.
Right.
Than wherever
this
Back
is,
to the Future, which is like a small town.
And obviously this has influenced so many films, like Fifth Element, even to a degree. In Star Wars: Attack of the Clones, when you look at Coruscant, there's a little bit of Blade Runner in there. I mean, there's absolutely this. I think Douglas Trumbull did the visual effects, and he is so good, and he did such a good job with it. And he was a special effects designer. He did a lot of different special effects. He did Silent Running with Bruce Stern, and then he also did Brainstorm with Christopher.
Those all have
Walken.
good. Those are. Brainstorm, they try to do. Isn't there more like computer screen shit in that?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like,
I actually haven't seen Brainstorm, so I need to. That'd be something
I'm just sort of remembering certain aspects.
But anyways, I think it's good. Sean Young's fine. I'm not the biggest Sean Young fan.
Here's the thing. I remember like a Siskel and Ebert episode, where they did a whole thing about how much they love Sean Young, and they kept showing clips, and I'm like, she sucked in that. I don't understand. Why are you showing these clips? She's okay, but she's also, I think she's trying to be an unemotional replicant thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it works. But then I watch other movies, and I'm like, she replicant in this too? What's going on?
Rutger Hauer's amazing.
Oh, yeah, he's really good. And he's not
movie.
An unemotional replicant. So I'm like, why can't they give Sean Young some
the stuff he did? He's so iconic. And the scene when he goes in and talks to James Hong, and he's like, questions.
Yeah, he is very over the top.
But he's awesome.
But he's also, he knows for a fact, I'm not the good guy in this.
No, he knows.
Although he's not
the bad guy.
He's just a guy who's mad. He's a very angry person.
He's kind of like almost forced to be bad or whatever. Oh, but that scene when he kills Tyrell and he's like, and he's like, takes his head, and you're like, holy shit.
It really is nifty. And it just happens. Yeah. And you're like, oh shit.
I think Daryl Hannah's awesome, and her iconic makeup with the.
Had she done Splash yet?
No, this is 2 years before Splash.
So this is like where she came from.
This is one of she had small bit roles in other films. This was like her
really
major one. Yeah.
And the fact that she did Splash later means also they didn't just assume she was typecast for this type of thing.
Oh, she's awesome.
Because she went complete innocence in that. In this, no, she is dark.
Oh, when she's like she's doing all the acrobatics. Well, obviously, her stunt double is.
Well, there's a couple of times where it wasn't. You can tell that she at least did some version of this. And I'm like, fuck.
And she's doing these flips and stuff, and then when he shoots her, and she does that, she starts convulsing.
What the fuck?
It's
that
so
creepy.
Crazy. Yeah,
that was really crazy. And that's when you start thinking, oh, they aren't just like weird people. They are machines.
Yeah.
At that point, it can help you go like, they're just fucking creepy machines.
This is directed by Ridley Scott. This is his third film. His first film I've never seen is The Duelists. But his second, I would love to watch that. Yeah. It's Harvey Keitel and Keith Carradine.
I haven't seen it, but I know about the duels in it are supposed to be the most amazing thing in the world.
Alien is
a
fucking awesome movie. It's really good.
That's the weird thing about that.
Yeah.
The only reason we really know Ridley Scott, not from the Duelist. Duelist, I think they're okay, but it wasn't the reason he
was Alien.
It's Alien. Yeah. And Alien had shit tons of studio manipulation, and somehow it came through that and got really good.
Yeah. And
this one fucking amazing.
And then he followed that up with this movie, and that's a great 1-2 punch in Hollywood history. I think is Alien and Blade Runner.
Well, this is years later though.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years later. So this was his next film, and it's so good. Now I was reading some of the behind the scenes. Harrison Ford and Ridley Scott did not get along. Neither of them have had good memories about making the film. They are now proud of the film, and they now respect each other instead because they're not mad at each other anymore.
I don't think they've ever worked together.
No, they never worked together again. I don't think. No.
I'm trying to think. Other than anytime Ridley's done like a sequel is the only time he's worked with the same people. I think, right? I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Oh, whatever.
Anyways, yeah. So I think this is a fantastic movie. Like I said, the world building is great. Like even like just the little things like the toy room where like with Sebastian made us toys and get the creepy guy with the long nose.
I had no recollection of those toy things.
That was so fucking creepy.
Because I haven't seen this I'm like, what the fuck? That's when you also can find out replicants are just, I guess, organic machines.
Yeah.
I guess. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, they're different.
And what's neat about this, so it's, and a lot of people, I know when it came out, a lot of people criticized it, and I even talked to some of my friends now that I think a lot of people respect Blade Runner more than they actually enjoy it, because a lot of people are complaining that it's a little slow. And
I think watch the narration. It wasn't that slow.
But why even like it without? Because I like how meditative it is. But I really like just how I like the slow pacing of it. I dig it. I really dig the vibe of it. And there's action in it, but I wouldn't call it necessarily an action movie.
I mean, last episode we recorded.
He just pretty much shoots people. He doesn't. There's not really no action. He goes bang bang. He shoots them.
Yeah.
Well, that scene when Brian
chases
James
them. He chases them sometimes. There's like a big chase.
Yeah.
At one point, that's a very.
When he's chasing with Joanna Cassidy,
That's
and then
a very
Brian
big
James shows up and he fights him, and then he's
that happens like right afterward. And I'm
he's
like,
about to die, and then boom, he gets shot in the head, which that looked fucking
that
crazy.
was very
It was like,
also very film noir.
That was
the moment
pretty
that happened,
cool.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is very film noir.
Yeah.
It's just apparently other versions don't have the narration.
Yeah. No, I think it's still, even watching it back then, I'm like, I don't care that it has all the shit in it. It's a masterpiece. I still don't care. So it's still 4 stars for me. I don't know what you.
I'm going 3.5.
3.5.
It's still really good.
Yeah.
It's still weird. It's still this version of it where he saves Deckard in the end.
Yeah.
And there's literally no explanation. And the movie says, oh, we don't have an explanation for why this happened. And I'm like, okay.
Time
you
to
can try.
die. That chase,
That
though,
time to die
Yeah.
line is one of the best.
But the way that whole like 15-minute chase between him and Roy Batty, like,
Oh yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah, it's actually
It's so good.
Really,
And then,
really good.
then when he breaks his fingers, you're like, holy shit.
That's actually, which is another thing where I'm like, he's just a fucking replicant because
Right.
you break your fingers,
Well,
your hand's
then-
a useless turd.
Well,
after
then
that.
Rutger Hauer's gonna die, and he's like, not yet, and he puts like a nail through his hand. You're like,
yeah,
holy
it's
shit.
crazy. It's bonkers.
And sorry to go back and keep talking about this movie, but Harrison Ford is really good in the movie. He even does little things in the movie, like when he's talking to Joanna Cassidy, he's trying to pretend to be someone else. He's like, "Hey," and he comes and he has that like nerdy voice. He's like, "Hey, I'm with the abuse."
It's called He Can Act.
Yeah.
Weird, huh?
It was pretty good, but it also reminded.
Let me in.
Well, that part also reminded me of there's a movie called The Big Sleep with Humphrey Bogart, and he is a private investigator, and he's using his he does a nerdy voice to pretend to be someone else, and so I'm
okay.
like, it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. So more than just the narration, it does have a very film noir type feel to the movie.
it does.
Yes, I still think
That's why I'm actually not mad at the narration.
Right.
I'm more mad at the hokey bullshit ending.
it's more
the narration itself is fine, actually.
Right, I think it could have been done better if it was handled or like written better.
Yeah, if it was written better, and there's certain parts of it that aren't written perfect.
No.
But I don't hate the idea of it.
I don't hate the idea
of it's
at
fine.
all. No. Okay, so yeah, masterpiece. I really like it. So you really liked it too. Really,
really
entertaining
did.
movie. It's not for everybody's taste, but I
Let's
still
talk about
I
a
still
movie
think
that's
it's
not
really
as good, Austin.
Grease 2.
What? Not as good as
don't like this movie?
Oh my god! 3.5 stars, Austin. Let's go. You're gonna fucking give it high remarks.
I'm not giving it 3.5.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
It isn't all negative. Okay.
Okay, so Grease 2. So yeah, this is supposedly like one of the worst films that came out in the
it's
80s
not one
too.
of the worst.
And
You go watch more movies,
I'm
morons.
like, you know what? I kind of want to see it because I like musicals, and I just want to see what it's like. So how do you feel about the original Grease? It's not my favorite. I think it's fine.
I mean, I guess I.
Because you like musicals, yeah.
I liked it. It definitely has some issues at the end. Okay,
Yeah.
where she changes her whole self for her actually not very likable boyfriend. And I'm like, okay, whatever. In this, similar, but actually gender flipped and not nearly as stupid and creepy.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
changes himself because he's got a crush on her.
Yeah.
And also, she kind of likes both versions.
Yeah.
So in actuality, it's not that terrible. Okay? But boy, some of the songs in this are real shitty. Real shitty.
So
Like the first song is really fucking good.
Agreed.
God
Agreed.
damn, is that opening song? I'm like, what the? This
So,
movie's supposed to suck?
I
This
think-
movie's fucking awesome.
That's exactly what I thought. So the movie starts off, right? Well, it starts off with you see like the principal from the first movie. I'm like, oh, it's the same actress.
There's
And-
like 3 people in this that were in the first movie.
Right. And they're putting up the flag or whatever, and I'm like, okay. And then you see the bus show up, right? And then the music starts. Michelle Pfeiffer gets off the bus and she starts snapping her fingers. And I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
It's musical time. I like the energy of the first musical number.
The first song is sung actually by the Four Tops.
Right.
Which is why it's the best. Actually, there's a lot of stuff in here where the voices are fine.
Yeah.
Because obviously Michelle Pfeiffer's not singing that song. Okay.
But I was really impressed with the energy of the film. I was like, holy
There's
shit.
a lot of energy.
There is and the choreography, the dance choreography is really good in this movie, I think.
It is, actually.
It's really good. And it was directed
You're
by...
going to really hype me up, but I'm actually not going to give this bad review on mine.
Patricia Birch directed the film. It's her only film as a director. She was a choreographer. She choreographed the dance numbers in Greece.
Okay.
They made her a choreographer. And I think she did a pretty good job directing the film. I think... Well, let's go on the premise. Okay, so...
The premise is they bowl a lot.
So it's in 1961, yeah. So it's kind of a role reversal. You have to show the T-Birds and the Pink Ladies. The
Yeah, you
T-Birds...
still have them, yep.
Right.
They're all different people, except for
Right.
Frenchie, who's sort of a pink lady.
Yeah.
But is never around when the other pink ladies are around.
Right.
Okay.
So Michelle Pfeiffer, and she, I always forget the character's name. Yeah, Stephanie. She's the leader of the Pink Ladies. And she was kind of dating the leader of the T-Birds, played by Adrian Zmed, who I know from Tom Hanks' best friend at Bachelor Party. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
I think
oh,
you had
dude, I
mentioned
know
something
Adrian
about that
Zmed.
before or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, as one of the T-Birds, Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, Shooter McGavin. The moment I saw him, I'm like, 4 stars, Shooter McGavin's in this.
This is third because he was an Outrageous Fortune
Yeah.
and Break-In already.
Yeah,
So this
right,
is his
yes.
third Christopher
We've
McDonald
had-
film.
We've done like half his film career on this fucking podcast. It's crazy.
Right. And so, but anyways, so there's kind of like a conflict of that because Adrian Zmed still wants to be with Stephanie, and she's just like, I don't care anymore. Well, there's a new kid in town, and it's Sandy's, who is Olivia Newton-John's cousin.
Yes.
So
he's the
Maxwell Caulfield plays Michael
He
Carrington.
might be.
Yeah.
Frenchie is the only person who ever references anything that ever happened in the
no one else
original
knows.
movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some faculty members, but they never mention
Yeah, Sid
that
Caesar's
anything
still in it.
happened
Yeah.
or anything. Yeah.
So, anyways, he's kind of like Sandy in that movie where he was like goody two shoes or whatever. He dresses proper, whatever.
He's British.
Yeah. And
Sandy was Australian.
Oh, you're right. That's weird. Or maybe he's just I just say British exchange student. Anyways,
I mean, maybe she was played by Australian. Was she supposed to be British? In that
I don't
movie?
know.
I
What
can't
she was-
remember.
yeah, it's been a while. Anyways, Michael, but he obviously likes Michelle Pfeiffer, and he's just like, how do I do this? So he. She likes. Well, in a song, she tells him what she likes.
Yeah,
which is
that song is actually pretty cool, except for it's not sung by Michelle Pfeiffer.
No. So, how you felt about the songs in MAME? You're like, these are shitty songs, but I still love it. That's kind of how I felt about this movie.
Understandable.
This is my MAME.
Oh, good for you. I'm not gonna shit on this nearly as much as you shit on MAME. Okay?
No, because I hated MAME. No. So, but yeah, so it goes with that, and then it all leads to a talent show. So it didn't really. I feel like it's almost less of a plot in this movie than there is in the first phase.
Well, the first one also still has all this side shit that happens.
Yeah.
It has beauty school dropout, which
Yeah.
is just Frenchie's thing that happens to her, and it's referenced in this.
We also got Connie Stevens, who plays like the hot teacher.
Yes.
Yeah. I love.
But they sexy her up even more in this.
Well, she was originally
all the students would love to bang her.
Well,
and
Connie-
then another teacher shows up.
Yeah, that's
and
Tab Hunter.
And she
Yeah.
wants to bang him.
Now, Connie Stevens, she was originally supposed to be Annette Funicello, but she couldn't do it because she couldn't get out of her Skippy contract because she was doing the Skippy peanut butter commercials.
That takes like a fucking day
don't
to do.
know.
What are you talking
Anyway,
about?
she couldn't do it, so they got Connie Stevens, who was also in some of those beach movies with Annette.
Yeah,
so
okay.
It's kind of funny. Eddie Deason as the nerd is back, but he just kind of you see him once in a while, which is weird. He was kind of the nerd in Greece that they all made fun of.
Which I couldn't remember. I saw him in this, and I'm like, was he in Greece?
Yeah, he was.
He was only in the first half hour of this.
Right,
I never
right.
see him again.
Right.
I think he got killed by the T-Birds.
Right. Oh, so anyways, Michael Caulfield, he pretends to be this mystery rider, biker guy, or whatever. And
actually, he looks real good in that thing,
Yeah.
biking around, and I'm like, dude, that guy is gonna get all the girls.
yeah, it's probably a hottie. So, anyways, Maxwell Caulfield is so Michelle Pfeiffer likes him like that, but then you're gonna eventually it's gonna happen where she's gonna find out who it is, and she
Not
does.
until right at the end.
No, it's right at the very end.
It's very
But
end.
it goes.
It's not like a plot that where she
Right.
finds out and then she has to like
Right.
fight it in her head. Or
But it all
anything
goes.
like that.
It all goes to this talent show and kind of with that.
Yeah.
And then there's a musical number at the end, and
That
ends,
talent
and
show
then they
was
like each
a
other.
very accurate high school talent show
Yeah,
level
yeah,
and stuff going on. I'm like, wow, is this
So-
garbage?
Yeah, when like you said, when that first musical number hits, I was like, holy shit, is this actually good?
And it's huge.
Yeah.
It's a much more school-wide thing than in anything in Greece.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in Greece there's the school dance.
Yeah.
But that's a school
This is a
dance.
bigger budget
This is
than-
a Broadway main event
absolutely.
musical
Yeah.
production in the beginning.
And this is a bigger budget, and it was also shot like because Grease wasn't shot super wide. This is shot super widescreen,
Yeah.
2:3:5 aspect ratio, and it looks great.
It does look good.
So, but yeah, the first musical number, I'm like, is this gonna be fucking awesome? And then as it went on, I'm like, okay, it's fine. I still like it. I like some of them.
It does have the problem of when the first thing you see is the best thing.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yep.
Maybe not the best idea. Okay,
But I
maybe
did-
end your movie on the best stuff.
Some of the songs are better than others, but even the bad ones, I really like the reproductive sex education number.
Really?
That was
God,
hilarious.
I thought it was hilariously in the fact that it was real dumb.
No, it was no. That's why I liked it. It was stupid. I'm like,
It
what?
was
Like,
real stupid.
reproduction. And I'm like, it's like,
That's when Shooter McGavin has some singing.
Yeah,
Where it's
yeah.
I'm like, not him singing.
Yeah.
Nobody in this thing is singing with a real voice. Okay.
no. So I think this movie kind of gets a bad rap. I think it's choreographed really well. I think the musical numbers are fun. The energy is high. I was reading a review of Roger Ebert. He gave it like a 2 out of 4 stars, saying this movie.
I'm going to tell you, that's relatively accurate to what I'm going to give.
Well, he
it,
goes,
okay?
this movie has no energy. I'm like, I
This
disagree.
movie is all energy.
It
to-
is.
to a hokey degree.
And
okay?
I think Michelle Pfeiffer. So this was.
She never went on to do musicals for obvious
No,
reasons.
no.
Because she can't sing. But
you know what?
She can do the finger snapping.
Oh my god! I thought she was really good in the movie. I really like.
Well, this is like her first
first
headlining
big role. Yeah, her next movie was Scarface.
Oh wow,
with
That's a
Al
real-
Pacino.
what a different movie.
So Maxwell Caulfield, on the other hand, he has a different experience of what happened to him. When I was reading about that,
He's
he says,
the British guy. Okay.
yeah, he blamed this film because he had all these stuff lined up to do, and
Yeah.
as soon as this film flopped, he lost all of it, and he couldn't find. He was having a really hard time struggling
Wow.
finding work. So he did not have a career
Because he
after
isn't
this.
horrible.
Yeah, but he's not Michelle Pfeiffer either.
No,
Like,
he's not
she's
Michelle
fantastic
Pfeiffer.
in the film.
Yeah, the fact that Michelle Pfeiffer can go on and have a career, why wouldn't he have a career?
Yeah.
He's a fantastically good-looking dude.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's all I really got to say.
I mean, he's fine. He didn't blow my socks off with the acting.
I'm not even gay or anything, but that dude's hot. Okay?
Yeah, I like but I liked it. I thought it was fun. It was a lot more fun than I was going like. Okay, let's see how bad this is, and I'm like, oh, I kind of like this movie, so I'm at a 3 on it.
I'm going 2.5.
Okay.
It's not the shittiest thing in the world. It's not the
I'm
best thing in
surprised.
the world.
I thought
It's
you would
a
like
thing
it more
can
because
watch.
you liked Mame.
This isn't Mame. You can't compare this with the beauty that is Mame. Mame is a million times worse than this, which makes it better.
Yeah.
Don't you understand that, Austin?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
You give that a 3.5.
It looped back around.
But
I gave Wild Thing 3.5,
Yeah,
Austin,
you did.
and that is unwatchable garbage.
I was, but the first half hour of this film, I'm like, is this a 3.5? But then as it went on, I'm like, okay, it's not as good as it.
I will
and
admit,
it's a little
that
long.
first number, I'm like, if they can keep any of this up, I'm going to live the hell out of it. And then halfway through, I'm like, they did not keep any of that up.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then there's the weird song in the bomb shelter where I'm like torn because that song is cool, but the dude is literally trying to rape her chick.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
absolutely.
My brain.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that was pretty gross.
But it was also funny because she didn't realize what he was saying.
No.
She thought he was going to join the army or something.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, we're going to do this for our country. Because he was trying to act like we need to repopulate the earth because we're in a bomb shelter and now bombs have all gone off. Please, fuck me. No, she was like, oh, you're going to go out there and kill all those commies. That's basically what she was saying.
So yeah, Grease 2, it's not as bad as the...
But nothing's as bad as people say this is.
No.
They say this is going to make your eyes bleed. It's so shitty.
No, I thought it was a lot of fun. Okay, The Border. So Jack Nicholson, The Border. Directed by Tony Richardson, who won... he made a Best Picture winner with Tom Jones in 1963. I think he passed away in the early 90s, Tony Richardson. Anyway,
Okay.
Yeah, this one, I saw this like 25 years ago.
Oh,
or
you had
30
seen-
years.
you had seen this
I
one.
saw this.
Okay.
When I worked at Hollywood Video, I was like, what's this? Jack Nicholson, The Border. I never even heard of it.
The cover, here's the thing. The poster, if you don't take a good look at it, you don't know who the fuck that is.
No.
Okay?
Yeah. Well, you didn't know who. I didn't tell you who was in this
I found
movie.
out, though.
Okay, you did find out who was in it.
Through
Okay.
accident, I found out because there is this poster and his name is on the poster.
Yeah. I was
It's
making sure we could sneak in
the
there.
first name on the poster.
Right,
Austin,
right.
Okay, so I'm like, that must be Jack.
Okay, Jack Nicholson. There he is. Yeah. So this is about border cops.
Yeah,
Border Patrol.
Yeah.
And Jack Nicholson plays Charlie, and he is kind of unhappy, and his wife's kind of unhappy, and she's like, let's move. My friend has this like duplex we can move in right next to them, and you can get a job with him at doing the border stuff.
They're living in a trailer.
Yep, they're living in a trailer.
She doesn't want to live in a trailer.
No, she wants to buy water beds and sofas and pools.
Show up one day and somehow there's a new pool that's been installed, and I'm like, did you leave for a month? What happened?
But she wants the good life or whatever, the typical whatever.
She wants to spend money on credit that she seems to think we don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
She literally says that at one point. No, I just bought it with credit. And I'm like, does she not understand how credit works? Now I know why you're poor.
She might not. And Jack Nicholson, so he doesn't really like his job. He's just going through the motions. So it's kind of about human smuggling. And they seem to be like, every time they like bust people, it seems to be the same people over and over again because they get busted and they go back and then they're got to bust them again.
But they even kind of say it.
Yeah.
There's even a couple of times where people get off of a bus and they just don't bother running and whatever. They'll get them next time.
Yeah,
They'll be back
exactly.
tomorrow.
Yep. Now,
some of them literally seem to do it
Yeah.
just to go to work.
Yeah.
And then they go back home and then they have to break in again to go back to work.
Yeah.
I'm like, work visas are things. Okay?
Harvey Keitel plays his neighbor, and he's, I guess, the villain of the movie.
He's very much the villain.
Yeah.
He's the dirty one.
Yeah.
Well, one of the many, many dirty versions.
Yeah, and Warren Oates is the other one. Warren Oates plays the superior, the boss guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he's Red, and Harvey Keitel's Cat. Valerie Perrine plays Marcy. That's Jack Nicholson's wife. Now you know her from Superman. She's Miss Tessmacher. That's
Yeah.
So
she's really actually.
Oh, I like her as an actress.
Yeah,
She's
I
awesome.
like her fine.
No, I like her.
I always love Tessmacher because she's just fun.
Yeah.
She's never even merged into the comics as far as I know.
Oh no,
I don't
that's
think
just
they
the movie
because it was just a movie thing.
Now this is a slow kind of burn movie, so it's kind of a character study where it kind of has something to say about like society and what it is about like the original married life or whatever, traditional married life.
I think it has some filmmaking problems and writing problems.
It has a little bit of writing problems.
Do they not know how to like transition or anything?
Yep.
It's just
I
like,
think so.
How much longer is it? They never. Every time I would move from him being angry, and then he'd be at work, and then he'd go back home, and he would be angry for no reason.
Right.
But it does. But that's what I'm saying. Sounds like it makes sense. It doesn't make a ton of sense in this movie. Okay.
Well, so there's also kind of a subplot going on. One of the major plots of the film is Maria is she is a Mexican who's constantly going back and forth with the border, but she has a kid.
Yeah.
And the opening,
she's got a son, I think.
Yeah, the opening has that weird like earthquake in the beginning.
It's an infant son.
Oh yeah, has that weird earthquake in the beginning too.
Yeah,
which is weird.
That is a weird that doesn't do anything.
No, yeah.
And I do not understand what that is. I've forgotten about that till now. And because it plays no role in this movie.
Well, the person that plays Maria is I'm gonna butcher the name. I apologize. Is Elpidia Carrillo.
Okay. She's got a Wikipedia link, so she must have other roles and stuff.
I know her from the only female in Predator. That's the girl in the lady in Predator. Do you remember when they find?
She's like Asian in that, but she's playing Asian.
Is she playing Asian?
That's like
no,
Vietnam.
They went to a South American.
Was it?
Yeah. It was.
Oh man, edit that out, Austin. Edit my horrible racism out of the episode. Okay.
Anyways, I think she's really good in this movie.
Oh, she is really good.
She's really good in this movie.
Similar to what is that? The Michael J. Fox one.
Oh, Casualties of War. Yeah.
Where she was really good. Also, never spoke a word of English. Okay?
Right? Yeah. She's really good in this movie. One time when Jack Nicholson's like kind of looking around the border or whatever, and he sees her, and they kind of have a little bit of an exchange.
At that point, I was wondering, I thought they were going to have an affair or something. No. He just. Like,
I actually really like that about his character in this movie. Yeah,
actually,
because he easily could have had an affair with her. And he chooses.
Yeah, that's right. At one point, it wouldn't have been an affair. She thought she was paying him something.
Right, and he's like, no, I don't want.
No, that's not what I'm here for.
Which he could have taken advantage of.
Oh, he could have.
He didn't.
He could have.
So it says something a little bit about his character a little bit. But then you find out, so her baby gets taken.
Yes.
By this other skeevy guy that works with Harvey Keitel.
And he's like going to sell the baby
Yeah.
to rich Americans.
Yes. He's how much did he say? $25,000.
Like $25K. I'll split it with you.
Yeah.
At the end, he says
so.
that.
Jack Nicholson
he doesn't
finds
end
this
up
out.
getting any of that money because he's dead.
Right. Jack Nicholson finds this out, and Harvey Keitel's involved with this. Warren Oates is involved with this, and so Jack Nicholson finds this out, and he doesn't want part of it. And Harvey Keitel's trying to get him on the take, and there's a great line and a great Jack Nicholson moment when he's just like, "This fucking line, I do not cross.
Yeah.
This line." And
he like makes a line with his foot. And that line.
I love it.
It was good.
I love Jack Nicholson.
And that's the best part about Jack.
Yeah.
If he's angry, you fucking know he's angry, and he's going to be right.
Well,
if he's wrong, so it feels like he's
mostly this is an understated performance, which I think is pretty good. I really like him in the movie, and I really like
he's really good in the movie.
Even the scenes with his wife, when he first comes home and he sees that waterbed, he's like, "How much of this fucking thing cost?"
I'll tell you how much it was because in my notes, $1,585.
That's right, because they had the tag on it.
Yeah, that's when he saw that later on.
Yeah.
He saw that when he was lying in the bed. And then the next time he goes home, we don't know how long that is because this movie's weird.
Yeah.
There's the pool.
Yeah. And he
also has new furniture that moved in.
Yeah.
She brought in a whole bunch of furniture. Well, she wanted to leave the plastic.
I did like that scene. Because then he's just like, he goes, "No more." And that means no more. It doesn't mean more. It means no more.
I think this is nowhere near the first time he has said no more. But this is the time where he finally says, that's the time he hits her.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I'm not for, but I also understand he's super angry. And unlike in Internal Affairs.
Oh, Internal Affairs.
Internal Affairs Theater. He was mad for like a half hour.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And he's been mad for like months.
Well,
okay?
what's great,
and she just keeps fucking doing it. And he doesn't like beat her.
No.
He smacks her once.
Yeah, right. But what's neat? Well, his performance, because his character, it's a.
I'm not defending hitting her.
No.
Please, people, do not cancel me.
Well, what I think about this film is that we're not supposed to like him. We're seeing a flawed character.
Oh yeah,
that's what we're doing.
He's not.
It doesn't bother me.
He's an onion.
Yeah, layers. No, I think it's a really understated performance. I think it's really good. I think some of the violence is really shocking in this movie. When that guy gets shot.
That right at the end, the dude accidentally kills himself.
Yeah.
And they show it. His entire head like explodes.
So there's a shootout. Jack Nicholson kind of nicks him, like shoots him in the leg or something, and then the guy falls down with a shotgun, and the shotgun goes off and blows his own head off.
And I was watching, I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah,
that is not what I expected in this movie.
I know. I had to shush you in the theater, and people are like,
well, and then Harvey Keitel gets killed.
Yeah.
In a very cool way,
that was awesome. Okay, so there's a shootout at the end of the movie because they're trying to take down Jack Nicholson because they're thinking Jack Nicholson is going to he's going to tell everyone what they're doing.
He's found the baby.
Yeah.
And he's going to bring the baby back to the actual baby's mother.
And they don't want to, go to jail, so they're trying to kill Jack Nicholson. So that's what's the deal of the movie.
Big shootout that happened.
Yeah.
And Jack's a good guy in this movie, so he wins.
Harvey Keitel is like underneath.
It's a big truck of some sort.
Yeah.
It's a dirt mover of some sort. It's big.
And so he's
with
underneath
really big tires.
And instead of shooting Harvey Keitel, he shoots the tire, which which deflates the air's coming out of it and makes the truck squish Harvey Keitel.
And Harvey Keitel's laying on his back and it hits him in the chest.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God. He doesn't die like instantly.
That was cool.
He's lying there and he knows nothing he can do about it and he's just gonna die.
The other scene that really stood out for me, the scene when he goes to get the girl from the bar. And I love that scene.
There's really good scenes in this.
He walks in and then he goes in there. That's when she's gonna take her clothes off. She's like, no, you're coming with me.
I like
and
everything.
The way
in this
he
movie.
walks out and then everyone beats him up and he doesn't prove to be heroic because he couldn't beat all those guys up. And so he ends up losing the fight.
But then he still wins like a gunfight against 15 people.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
no,
whatever.
Okay, so this is a flawed film. There are some editing issues.
Yeah.
There are some. I think all the scenes are shot well most of the time.
Yeah. Every time stuff's happening, and then it just like acts like it's skipped. Is there a longer version of this movie?
Yeah. It definitely feels like. I think I like most of the stuff that we see on the screen. But I do think that, so when I saw this back 30 years ago, I was like, holy shit, I fucking love this movie. I didn't like it as much. I still like it.
Yeah.
But I do think it's flawed, and it does have a little bit of editing issues as far as how scenes transition from one to the other. That said, I think it's strong enough. Jack Nicholson's character is strong enough, and there's some really good scenes in the film that I can still recommend it. And also, Padilla Carrillo as Maria, I think is fantastic.
A couple of the things I put in my notes I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I like everything that happens in this movie. I like this movie. I just don't love this movie.
Yeah.
This movie should be a classic.
I think so.
Almost a classic.
I think so.
But instead, it's just merely a pretty good movie from the early 80s.
But I think that it's good enough that I think it should be like, I think people should watch it. If you like Jack Nicholson and you're trying to see, I want to watch a good Jack Nicholson movie, I'm like, he's pretty good. He's really good in this movie.
He's really good in this movie.
Yeah.
Every time he does anything, you're like, I completely believe it.
Yeah.
And then he'll do completely different shit next scene, and I still believe it. It just doesn't make fucking sense.
Right.
Okay.
I am going to give it 3 stars.
I'm going to give it the same rating as Grease 2?
Oh, yeah.
So it's better than Grease 2. 3. I'll have to go 3.
Okay.
Or maybe I have to bring Grease 2 now. Grease 2 is a 2.
And this is a 2.5.
2.5.
Okay, fair enough.
I have to adjust things so my brain doesn't explode.
Yeah, but no, I think it's good. Well, I'm glad you didn't hate it. So
Yeah.
sure. Okay, next one is Author. Al Pacino. So I love Al Pacino.
Had you ever seen this one?
I've never seen this one. No.
I don't know why I even knew this existed.
Yeah.
You had told me this.
Yeah, it's why
That poster, I guess that's Al Pacino.
The reason
and also,
why-
it's Al Pacino's ghost in the poster.
I do remember this movie because I didn't have cable, but my uncle did. And I remember looking at his cable guide, and I remember seeing Author all the time. It was like on cable all the time.
That's
in the
why I'm
80s.
like, I had seen it. Not seen it. I had never seen the movie.
Yeah.
I might have seen the name, but also maybe I had.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I had never seen it, but also it's just the word author. I'm like, I could have seen a book called that. Or for all I know. Okay.
So Al Pacino plays a playwright named Ivan. You know, he's struggling with his art like other people do. He's trying to get this play made. He's going through directors.
What's
whatever,
the name of his play?
Trying to cast it.
Do you know the name of his play?
I already forgot it.
English with Tears.
That's right.
You have to pay me a lot of fucking money to go see a fucking play called English with Tears.
There it is, right there.
Christ.
English with Tears.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah.
worst. I would never. If you picked a movie on here called English with Tears, I quit the podcast. That sounds fucking terrible.
So next week, that's good.
Thank you.
But what happened? So he's married to Tuesday Weld, and he's got. It wasn't always clear, but I think he's got 1 or 2 kids of his own.
Here's the thing. Throughout this whole movie, I'm like, there are like 8 kids. I don't know which one of these kids are his, which are hers, which kids have different parents.
I think.
Which kids have different mothers of his kids.
So,
I have no clue.
I think he has 2 kids, the oldest and the youngest.
I think so.
So I think I'm pretty sure.
Maybe.
So, anyways, there's 5 or 6 kids living with them, with Tuesday Weld, and
Austin, is this based on originally a French film?
No.
Because all of our French films so far, well, most of them,
Yeah.
because I think we watched that one Austrian thing or whatever, has women who just abandon their children to a
Yes.
stranger man.
Yeah.
And that happens in this 5 times.
yeah, Tuesday Weld.
Just
Yeah.
however many of those kids are hers, she just fucking leaves them.
Yeah.
With a guy she sort of knows.
She's married to him.
But they don't know each other.
No, they don't.
They
They
do
don't.
not know each
They were
other.
married. It seems they were married for at least 5 years, though.
Were they?
I want to say because that kid I think was like 5.
Is that
And
his?
I think it
is
was.
that kid both of their kids?
I think it is.
I couldn't tell you in this movie in a million years.
There weren't. Yeah, it wasn't really
There's
clear
so
on
many
it.
children in
There was
this
a lot
movie,
of kids.
It's impossible to keep track
But
of.
anyways, so he's trying to take care of them. I don't think he's a terrible dad.
I
It's kinda
mean,
neat.
he never gets a babysitter.
No.
I'm very. It's mostly this movie just doesn't make any fucking sense because he never gets a babysitter.
No.
And then you see so many scenes
Well, his son's
where
like
he's like
12 or 13
doing
or
shit with the
14.
play, and I'm like, I do not fucking give a shit about your stupid play.
Right.
The play shit in this is all I don't care. The kids matter. Your
Yeah.
play, fuck you. Okay.
Well, the reason why he's doing it is to get money for his kids. So he even says that. Is that
sure.
big line in the movie?
Yeah,
he's trying
he says
to, like,
that, but also it's the only thing he knows what to do.
Right,
so, I mean,
right,
I
right.
understand that, but also
does know that.
I don't care.
Right.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so Tuesday Weld leaves, and then he starts a relationship with Diane Cannon, this is what
Like this is like 3 days later.
Right.
After his wife leaves.
Now I
they
actually
were
like
on
this.
a break. Okay.
So he plays Alice Detroit. Well, I guess she's Tuesday Weld is cheating on Al Pacino, so that's why. So she's having an affair.
Yeah.
and
I
so
mean,
she
I
runs
guess
off.
he seems to. Okay, the beginning of this movie is like a a surprise birthday party for him.
Yeah.
And then the next thing, she's like leaving, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? What just happened?
Yeah.
They were in a perfectly fine marriage for the first 15 minutes of this movie.
Well,
and then it goes
we thought
completely
so,
sour.
but she
then
didn't, you know.
she disappears
Yeah.
for days,
Yeah.
is what she says. And I'm like,
She was gone for like months.
no, at that first
Yeah, yeah.
time,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
she hadn't been home in a couple of nights.
Right.
And she just shows up to go to bed.
Right.
And I'm like, in the previous scene, you were giving him a surprise party.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on in this movie?
So Diane Cannon is Alice Detroit. What I liked about her, so she's the new actress that's going to be in the play. So they have an affair, but then they start like liking each other, and she moves in. What I don't,
she just sends him one message and says,
However-
I want your dick.
however, which was actually a pretty cool message, actually, the way she did it. I was neat.
Yeah. And he said, I'm just going to
well,
listen to this
no,
in front of my children, and I'm not going to do anything about it.
The son was like, no, the son was like, I'm going to give you advice. I advise you to spend 50 minutes getting ready and spend the next 5 minutes rushing to go meet her there, which I thought was funny. Uh-oh.
No, I'm sorry. We'll keep going on.
Okay.
This is not a Zero-Star movie or anything.
What I liked about the Diane Cannon character, though, because you're like, oh, it's going to be one of those, and now she's going to be the one. No, she's not. Like, she ends up like,
No.
he's like, hey.
No,
He ends up
another
No.
horrible female character in this movie.
He also
all the women in this movie suck.
He also understands.
Because there's only two of them.
he also understands that he's just like, he realizes that he's still in love with his wife, and so he's just like, you know what? Would you be mad if I asked you to move out? And Diane Cannon's like, oh, good, I'm relieved.
Oh, good. I was going to tell you I was moving out because I moved in with you like the day after we met.
I think it was.
But also, I'm like, I mean, that does happen in all these weird Hollywood relationships.
Well,
do they really move fast.
The scene
and then they break up the next week. And it was in the paper.
Or the scene with Tuesday Weld, though, when she comes back, she's like, what? You're with the woman? I'm like, dude, you're with another guy. I'm like, what are you talking about?
She's the other female character.
She's
also
getting so mad that
garbage.
Like,
all the women in this are garbage.
Right.
Okay.
And also what's neat too is that Al Pacino, he's not going for younger people. Like Diane Cannon's older than.
Yeah,
older than him in the
no, that's
movie.
fine.
So
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
They're both. Everybody in this is around the same age.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all in their 40s. And then it kind of goes back to like with the kids, and there's like stuff with that. It's pretty much that's the movie, and then it's all leading up to his play and if it's going to be successful or not or whatever. And there's also a scene towards the end of the movie where he tries to get Tuesday Weld back, which is I actually kind of like.
He's trying to get her back because he has all her kids now.
Now,
because all the kids go back to their fathers, and then they all end up back at his place
because they like him better.
Nah, he lives in the city or something. I don't know.
No, I do think you like him because
they like him better because he never gets babysitters.
Well, he treats them like human beings.
He never gets a babysitter, and one of them's fucking 5. Okay.
Well, the oldest is probably 13 or 14. He's old enough to take care of him.
Fucking get a goddamn baby. Not when they fucking rest of them move out. The rest of them don't live there anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so that scene though when and it kind of hit home a little close to me when because I was a single dad, and so when he approaches her and he's like, "You need to come back home. You have your kids. You abandoned your kids." She's like, "I did not abandon them." I'm like, "You abandoned your kids."
Of course,
and
this is one of those French movies where women abandon their children.
And he goes, but he's just like, but what really resonated with me was when he goes, "They're people. They are human beings. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Get back here."
Doesn't work.
No, not at all. But I actually
work at
really
all.
like that scene. So, okay, flaws in the film, obviously.
Yeah.
So, yes, this kind of a similar problem that The Border did. The transitions are kind of goofy.
Oh, yeah.
All over the place.
That we have
in the film.
They start talking about shit that happened days ago,
Right.
and I'm like, that
Now-
was just a scene. The last scene was what, 3 weeks ago? Then
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I really like the movie that I think this is trying to be. One Best Picture was Kramer versus Kramer,
Okay,
the Dustin Hoffman movie where he's trying to raise his son
I think
after Meryl Streep.
I think Pacino is literally trying to be Dustin Hoffman in this movie. It's what it seems to be.
Well, that's
He's
what
really trying to act
what I
like
think
Dustin Hoffman acts.
What the writer should do, or the writer of this film is Israel Horowitz. He's trying to do a Kramer versus Kramer. I think that's what Arthur Hiller was trying to do as well. Now, reading about the production, Al Pacino did not get along with Arthur Hiller in the film.
Okay.
He says, yeah, unfortunately, he's like, I liked working with the kids, and I had fun making it, and I wanted to do something different because I always played darker characters. The flaws in the film is kind of goes all over the place. It worked for me because I really liked Al Pacino in the film.
Okay.
I really like not his character.
I
love his
understand
performance.
I didn't think he was terrible.
I think he's
but
really good in this.
I didn't think he was fantastic. Scroll up. Here's the thing I want you to do.
Okay.
I saw another one
Yeah.
that called this movie, after I watched it, I looked it up after we saw
Yeah.
it. I looked it up, and the first thing I saw was it's a comedy film, and I'm like, that movie is a fucking comedy?
There's some stuff I laughed at, but
I mean,
I wouldn't call it a comedy. It's a
sort
drama.
of.
It's a drama.
Sort of.
It's a drama. No, I think he's really good. So just to show you how good of an actor Al Pacino is in this film, there's a scene in the movie when his daughter, or his stepdaughter, has to go back with her father, and she does not want to. And it's a minute scene where she is talking to Al Pacino, and Al Pacino's not saying anything. When you watch him, you believe he is listening to his daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he is so good at reacting in this film
he is.
to his kids.
He is.
And I really like that. And then that scene at the end when he approaches Tuesday Weld, and he's just like, they're human beings. And I'm just like, yes. And he's got some good Al Pacino yelling moments in the film, which I like.
I do agree. Al Pacino actually is really good in the movie.
And
although some of the stuff he has to, some of the material they gave him is the fact he could act through some of that real terrible shit.
Yeah,
is good because
boy,
I
the script isn't as good as Kramer. Kramer vs. Kramer is one of my favorite movies, and I
don't think I've ever seen Kramer.
Oh, it's really good, and this does not come close. However, Pacino is that good for me in the film because he's one of my favorite actors, one of the best actors ever, and seeing him in this type of role, it was refreshing for me. So I'm going to give it a 3 solely because of his performance. Even though the film was flawed, none of it made me angry or pissed off. I was just like, that could have been done better. That could have been done better. But I really enjoyed his performance. So
okay,
that's where I'm
So
at.
here's the thing about this movie. We've talked about all this kid shit. I only somewhat mentioned the play. Half this fucking movie is that play.
Yeah.
And all that play shit, I couldn't have given.
What do you think of Alan King as his agent? He was fine.
Sure. I mean, he was the funniest character.
Yeah.
I would say he was the funniest character.
I liked him in the movie.
But also, I just didn't fucking care. The movie is about the kids.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they have to have him be, I don't know, he has to get into a relationship with her, and then she moves in, and the kids are like, is she going to be our new mother? And I'm like,
that lady you're sleeping with, you're going to marry her.
Your mother is an actual person in this movie.
Yeah.
Unlike his actual children, the oldest kid or whatever, his mother, not a person. At one point he says, blah, 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 your mother. He goes, she's not my mother. And I was like, well, whatever. Okay. He goes, yeah, just like the last whatever. Even though they've been married, I do get a feeling there was a series of them even before her. For a while, at least, burn through ladies. The moment she leaves, burn through another lady.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like she does the same thing, though, Tuesday Weld, that she's through guys.
The
multiple fathers.
The Tuesday Weld.
Yeah.
Alice Detroit, I assume, burns through the dudes and stuff. I really didn't like the mother. Her character made zero sense to me.
Yeah.
I've seen... Okay, remember Coraline?
Yeah.
Okay, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
With the buttons?
Huh?
The button eyes?
No, I'm sorry. Claudine.
Coraline.
Totally
different movie.
Claudine.
That James Earl Jones
is about actual human beings.
Yeah.
In their relationships. This was just it was a movie about, I'm a rich, successful guy. Here's all my problems. And I'm like, I cannot identify with you in any way. I am neither of those things.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Yeah.
This podcast with some listeners is the most successful thing I've ever done.
Yeah. So
I'm going to give it, because I like the kid stuff, but hated the lady stuff.
And Pacino, you thought was fine.
2?
Okay.
2. I'm going to have to go 2. I did actually.
I really liked how loose Pacino was. Like the scene.
I think he's Pacino at this point, brilliant actor.
Yeah.
Later on, he does start phoning it in. After the millennium. Okay.
Yeah, he was at his peak in here, and he did Scarface right after this movie.
Yeah.
With Michelle Pfeiffer, who was on Grease too. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. No. But how loose he is.
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
That scene when he first meets Diane Cannon and they're walking, and there's like a guy that has like a boombox, and he starts like dancing. I'm like, I don't know, just stuff like that. Like I love him in the movie.
There's stuff in this that's fine.
I
just really hated that play shit.
Okay,
God, I fucking
fair enough.
loathed it. And
English
like I
with
said,
tears.
If English with tears, you couldn't fucking pay me, Austin. You'd have to pay me a lot. I mean, I'd do anything for money. Okay.
All right. Well, very curious to see what you're gonna think of our next film, which was Cat People.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't watch this movie again for money. Okay.
Which one? This one?
This fucking
Cat
movie.
People?
God damn it,
Cat
dude.
People?
Yeah. I wasn't looking forward to screaming, but there might be some screaming.
We have a mutual.
God damn, is this movie terrible?
We have a mutual friend, Scott Davis. I know this is one of his favorite movies.
God damn. Poor Scott. Poor Scotty. What the fuck is wrong with him? He also has like 2 other movies that I have at least shot on. I don't know what you're feeling in this one.
This is directed by Paul Schrader. Paul Schrader wrote Taxi Driver. He didn't direct it, obviously. Scorsese did. No, he's an interesting. I'm hit and miss with him. He's still making movies today, and he has made some really good movies. He's made some 0-star movies, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh my God! You said the word 0 stars.
Not for this movie. I said,
but I know
he has made 0-star films.
That just makes me feel warm that they do exist.
That in my realm, yes,
they do exist, and I can't wait till we find one.
This isn't it.
No comment.
Cat people. So this, I've seen the original 1942 film. Really has nothing to do with the original.
Oh
film
yeah,
at all.
Actually, weirdly, I knew about the original, and I knew that it's all up in the air whether she actually is a cat person. And all that shit. And this is not in the up in the air. This is a very different movie.
Very different
film. This is nothing to... I don't know. They just want to make a shitty werewolf movie and said, let's go with cats. And also, let's make our own bullshit up.
Okay, so this stars Anastasia. Sorry, Scott, I'm going to ruin her name. Nastasia Kinski.
I think you said that correctly.
Right. She plays Irene.
Last time ever you're going to say anything right.
She's coming from somewhere. Where is she from?
From
Canada. That's where it says. She's from Canada.
She was like, I don't know, she was like adopted by a different family than her brother, and she had been tracking down her brother.
So she goes to meet her brother in New Orleans, Paul, played by Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah.
Immediately incestuous vibes throughout. Like, he is already super creepy with her.
It's real
and you're
weird.
Just like, what is going on?
What the fuck is happening in this motherfucking movie? And I'm going to tell you, when you find out, it still isn't an explanation.
That night, there's a prostitute who gets killed by a giant black cat.
A panther, I think they say?
Yep. I was doing research. They actually, they used cougars and they dyed them black because they're not trainable. That's what I read.
They just use a fucking cougar then.
Yeah, I don't know.
What the fuck? Just say it's a cougar.
They wanted a black
cat. It's a giant cat. Okay?
They wanted a black cat?
That seems like torturing a poor kitty.
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
So, I think that's weird. Okay, they tried to make it a mystery stuff. Malcolm McDowell, he's a cat, and he turns into like a monstrous, like big black cat, and he kills this hooker. Well, then the zoo people...
They don't explain to you why No. They will eventually, and you're gonna laugh.
The zoo people come and collect them, and the zoo people are a trio of John Hurd, the dad from Home Alone, which is, again, his probably 3rd time in the podcast.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then Annette O'Toole and Ed Begley Jr. So those three, so they show up and they take the cat to the zoo. Well, Nastasia, Irina, she shows up and she's like sketching the cat, but you don't really know why.
She's like in the zoo.
Yeah, in the zoo.
That torture zoo.
Yeah.
Where the cages are tiny.
Yeah.
Minuscule cages.
For these huge cats.
This is one of those nightmare zoos.
Yeah. Okay? Anyways, John Hurd sees her and is like, hey, what are you doing here? And they end up forming a relationship kind of thing. But then it was just like, it wasn't clear at first. It was like, John Hurd and Annette O'Toole, were they a couple? But it sounds like they were a couple.
I think, or they were siblings? I wasn't clear.
No, I think they were a couple before, I think, is what I heard. Oh, they also have Ruby
Maybe.
D. Ruby D, she plays that weird kind of lady that lives with Malcolm McDowell, too.
Yes.
Yeah. She's in
it's
there.
Like the landlord or something?
Yeah, it was really weird. Oh, did you like how John Larroquette showed up for like a scene?
He was just there. But I mean, it was early in his Larroquette, whatever. He's just got the job at the point.
That's his second. A Blind Date was the first one.
Yeah, but that's like 5 years later.
Yeah, that's right. This was right before Night Court. Whatever that was, a couple years later.
Right.
So, but then Malcolm McDowell does show up later, and he's like, he tells Irene all about like their history and all this stuff, and but we have to have sex with each other.
If they have sex, he seems to say if you have sex with anything that isn't your sibling, you then turn into a murderous cat, and the only way to turn back is to murder somebody.
Yes.
And I'm like, even if you just like rub one out, does this happen? I'm gonna say by shit that happens in this movie, yes, because that one woman just freaking gave him a blow, and he turned into a cat and murdered her.
Yeah.
I'm like, so in other words, you're just in hell. Okay, no rubbing one out or anything. You're just gonna turn into a murder cat. Okay, keep going, Austin.
Yeah, it gets so weird. It's hard to explain. John Hurd, and he has that weird bayou home that he has.
Oh God.
What? It was like
that character.
I was waiting for Burt Reynolds to show up in White Lightning.
That was just a character.
Yeah.
That character fully and only exists to be murdered by a cat later.
Oh yeah, that one guy.
The weird guy who lives on the bayou.
Yeah.
Well, remember that date? I'm sorry, we're gonna.
No, go ahead.
They went on a date, Nastasia and I think it was
John
Hurt.
Hurt.
Okay,
Yeah.
they went on a date. The entirety of this date, they were driving, and he says, "Look at that crane. Look at that boat." And she's laughing. And I'm like, "What the fuck is happening?
So
this is the worst date I've ever seen. Why is she enjoying herself?"
I would say throughout this whole movie, the way people talk to each other are not how people talk to each other. I was like,
so stupid.
and so the screenplay was written by Alan Ormsby. I'm assuming he's never talked to a human being in his life.
I think he's
because he does not know how people talk to each
he's
other.
He's a were person. He's a cat who turns into a person sometimes. And cats do not know how to communicate. Okay,
but the way that anybody talks to each other in this movie, I'm like, why did he say that? Why did she say that? That's weird.
What an awful movie.
Right.
Hilariously awful. But not the right way. It's just
No.
it's like everything I'm watching, I'm like, this is so fucking terrible.
And also, this is a very almost soft-core pornography film.
There's so many unnecessary bullshit boobs. That first sex worker who gets murdered, she like falls down, and while she's laying there, I don't know if somebody had telekinesis. They're like a button on her top popped. Boop! Here comes her boobs! Right before she's murdered. And I'm like, what the fuck was that?
That was Hollywood.
That was stupid.
Yeah.
She was literally terrified to be murdered.
Right.
But first, we got to see her boobs.
That's
I'm like,
right.
Jesus fucking Christ,
It was
this movie.
like the whole movie.
At that point, I'm thinking this movie might just end up being funny.
Yeah.
Or just
see in the
shitty,
movie.
and instead, I'm like, nope, this is just
then
made by monsters.
Towards the end of the movie, Annette O'Toole's being stalked. She goes, that scene in the pool only exists to have Annette O'Toole nude in the movie.
Oh yes.
There's no reason
the
really for that
only
scene.
fucking reason
Right.
that thing exists.
Right.
There's so many just like topless moments and actually full frontal moments.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so much nudity in this that is
Well,
nothing.
Malcolm McDowell too. He's naked, and John Hurt as well.
You're gonna see all kinds of naked, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why is any of this happening? In this movie? This only exists because this movie really wants to be edgy.
It
with
does.
all the
It does.
incest.
It does.
And all that. In the original Wolfman, they came up with all that shit about silver bullets. They came up with that prayer where people who say their prayer by night or whatever, even in the light of the full moon, can turn into blah, blah, blah wolves. That little saying, I can't remember the whole thing. Okay? But they came up with all shit. That went on to be iconic, and they literally watched a movie called Silver Bullet as if the silver bullet thing was a real old thing. No, it came out in the fucking 40s.
Yeah.
Okay? They made a fucking Wolfman movie. Okay? They said, we're going to come up with our own shit. Let's see how super fucking edgelord we can get. Let's get as edgelord as humanly fucking possible. You gotta fuck your sister.
Right.
You gotta, and at the end of it, she has sex with Hurt.
Yeah.
Okay? She turns into a cat person.
Yep.
She kills that that guy who lives in the bayou.
Yep.
And she says, no, and he finds her, he catches her sort of, and what she says, you have to now have sex with me, so I turned back into a cat and then put me in the zoo. And I'm
That's how it ends, yeah.
Abstinence! Okay? Abstinence!
Yeah.
That's another way to go!
Right.
What the fuck?
There's a lot of
You're
laughable
never gonna
scenes.
have sex in that zoo! You're in a fucking cage!
There's a laughable scenes in the movie. The one with Ed Begley Jr. when he gets his arm ripped off was hilarious. I did laugh at that. That was really
This
funny.
movie's so fucking
It's
awful.
really bad.
It's so stupid. God damn you, Scotty!
Now
I have to fucking hate. I have to call out Scotty. You suck. This movie's terrible.
Paul Schrader, I think he knows how to frame shots. I don't think.
Yeah, maybe. No.
I do think it has a stylish approach to the film. I like some of the shots in the film, and I do.
You really only see two transformations in the whole movie.
Yeah.
One of them, he's in the shadow.
Yeah.
He's there.
Yeah.
He comes in the shadow. All you can see is his eyes.
Yeah.
And when he comes out of the shower, he's a cat. And I'm like, that was fucking cool.
Yeah.
The cat was like the size of a house cat, so whatever. But it was cool. Okay?
Yeah.
And then later on, he like breaks out of his own skin.
Yeah.
Or something. I'm like,
It
that's
felt
a very different transformation.
It felt very much American Werewolf in London. Now, the issue that I had with this film was that this movie is so self-serious.
Yeah.
American Werewolf in London also has some like sexy stuff going on in that too, but it had a sense of humor, and it kind of knew what it was.
It is a horror comedy.
Yeah.
This movie is a funny horror movie, but none of it's intentional.
No, it's not intentional. No,
Not
I don't
one
think so.
It's so. You're right. This movie takes itself so mind-numbingly serious, and then
That's the problem
they
I had with
say
the film.
the stupidest shit ever.
Yes.
Everybody who ever talks.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. This movie was made by the Space Invaders aliens when they fucking phoned a camera one day.
I do think Malcolm McDowell has some great cringy moments in the film.
Oh, God.
But he is fully committed.
Oh, he's the fact that anybody in this movie can show up and say, I guess I have to say these lines
who
and I
also
have to fucking act it.
You know who also
all the way.
Actually, I think one of the best. I think Annette O'Toole is actually pretty good in the movie. I liked her performance-wise.
No, yeah.
I liked her. Nastasia, I guess the performances aren't
Annette
necessarily the
O'Toole's character
problem.
is a bad person.
Right.
She just is stuck in hell.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
She woke up one day and is in fucking hell. Where cat people exist. Edgy cat people.
My favorite things in the film, like I said, I like some of the stylish flourishes, and mainly I love, I can't pronounce his name either, but Giorgio Moroder's score. I really like.
I don't know if let me see if I wrote anything down.
His electronic musical score is great, and it uses the David Bowie song that he wrote for the film, "Putting Out the Fire with Gasoline." That theme is throughout the whole movie, and sometimes like David Bowie will just hum it like.
We forgot.
And what?
The opening of this.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the past?
Yeah.
In the beginning, I thought that was going to be an apocalyptic future where cat people had taken over.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, they're never going to explain it, except for they say that's when the cat people started.
Yeah.
They don't really explain it.
Because they had this cat, they tied this lady up, and then they went, and then a cat probably had sex with her or something.
Right? And that's not how cat people exist.
I think that's what they were trying to do.
But was the cat her brother?
No, I don't know.
Then no. Then it doesn't fucking work in your own fucking synopsis.
So
you fucking idiots.
So no, I did not like this movie.
I was fucking watching
like
it. It's so fucking terrible.
But the thing is though, I was entertained to a point where it was so bad we're laughing at it, and stuff. Oh. And
if you had to watch this movie alone, this would be fucking torture.
So I was kind of,
absolute fucking torture.
I did like the music, and I liked some of the shots and the vibe of the film. That being said, the rest of it is not good. So it's a 1.5 for me.
This is a typical Tim Zero because there's literally no reason to watch this movie.
Yes.
Okay, there's literally no reason anybody should ever watch this movie.
You should get the soundtrack.
This
on
movie
Spotify
in
and
a fucking theater.
Yeah.
Is a whole bunch of people laughing when there wasn't a comedy thing on the scene. It wasn't written as comedy.
No,
it was
not
written
at all.
as the most serious shit in the world.
Yep.
But then some naked person says something stupid. And I'm not 15 anymore, so I live in a world where naked people exist on my phone. Okay? I don't need naked people anymore. Okay?
Yeah, no, well, I'm glad. Yeah, no, it's not good.
God damn, it's so terrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's real bad.
I did not like it.
It's such a different thing because it actually makes me want to watch the original. Because I guarantee it's got to be really better in this movie.
So I was actually looking forward to this because this has a cult following.
Yeah,
and it's known among people that like it. It's supposed to be really good.
I was
hoping. I was actually surprised that I didn't like it. So I
knew about the original.
Yeah.
I knew about the end, like how it's like kind of up in the air, whether it's real or not. And then, so I'm like, okay, it's remaking that. This is going to be this cool, like, psychological thing or something. And 10 minutes, and I'm like, actually, no, a minute in where it was like the past, I guess. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? This movie is no good.
No, it's bad.
It's real bad.
Bad movie.
It's a real bad movie.
Our last movie is Victor Victoria. Not a bad movie.
No. This is not as bad as that.
No.
Nothing's.
No.
Well, okay, actually, like 5 previous movies in my review have been about the same level of terrible as zero. Okay.
So Victor Victoria. This is written and directed by Blake Edwards. Blake Edwards. This is our third Blake Edwards film because we did Blind Date, which I didn't care for it. But then he did Operation Petticoat, which I did like.
This is our first James Garner, or our third
James Garner film. Yeah. Is this our first Julie Andrews?
I think it is.
Might be. Yeah.
She didn't really start until the 60s, so. But
That's true.
Garner was around in the 50s.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. So so this movie was pretty popular when this came out in '82. It was nominated for a shit ton of Academy Awards.
Yeah.
It was nominated for Best Actress Julie Andrews, Best Supporting Actor Robert Preston, Best Supporting Actress Leslie Ann Warren, Best Screenplay, Best Art Direction, Costume Design.
based on material from another medium. What was this from?
This was based off of a French film in the 30s, I think.
But nobody abandons their children in this.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Best original song score and or adapted score. Henry Mancini won the Oscar for it.
Okay.
So yeah, yes, this is a musical.
I actually don't disagree with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give this thing the best. It's not. I've seen this twice before.
Oh, you have?
I
did
seen
not
this
know
movie
that.
twice before.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now. The first time I saw it, fucking blown away. Amazing.
Oh, okay.
And then I watched it again like maybe 10 years ago, and I'm like, it wasn't nearly as good as I remember.
Okay.
It's in between those now.
Okay. Yeah, I actually really liked it. This is my first time seeing it. So 1934 Paris is where it takes place. You meet Toddy, who's Robert Preston, who's fucking awesome in this movie. Robert
Preston is so good in this.
He's very good in this movie. Yeah.
He's really good. He is super gay.
Yeah.
But not birdcage gay.
I don't think so.
He's gaydar gay. He's going to ping it off like crazy.
Yeah.
But he isn't a comedy version
It isn't
of that.
movie. It isn't
in a movie where this sometimes just says, we may remind everybody it's a comedy. Every once in a while it has to remind you it's a comedy.
It isn't like super movie like gay.
Yeah.
It's just
he's just really
he's
good.
Just a gay guy. Yeah.
He's just really good at it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy
and
fuck.
he's a cabaret singer, and he is seeing like this one young guy or whatever.
So we were like 3 words in the synopsis, and I broke in. Now we're talking about that. But okay, keep going.
Then there is Victoria Grant, who played by Julie Andrews, and she is down on her luck.
Kind of. She's basically
Yeah.
She's 2 days from homeless.
Right.
No, half a day from homeless.
Right. And she's even offering her landlord to have sex to keep her place.
No, for a meatball.
For a meatball.
It wasn't for rent.
It was for
it was
I just want a meatball.
because she hasn't eaten food.
I haven't eaten,
guess.
and she was Well, she
fainted.
Yeah.
When she saw that guy eating that stuff, and I'm like, that was the first great shot of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it cuts back, and she's gone, and you think she left, and then a bunch of people show up, and they're like, oh, nope, she fainted.
Yeah. But she tries out for this cabaret, the same one that Robert Preston works for, and they don't want her. But I think Robert Preston was already like, she's fucking good. Like, he already could tell that she's good. But she does that thing where she does that really high note and then breaks the glass.
Yeah, it's a comedic version of that.
Yeah.
Because that's real, but you got to be like an inch from the fucking thing. You got to be real close to it, okay?
Well, she is at a restaurant. She's trying to get food. Well, Robert Preston got fired because they had started a brawl, and it seems like that's a thing that happens a lot. Those brawls that happen. But anyways, they're trying to get away with a really funny scene. I think is when they're trying to get away with
it's
a free
really
meal
because
she's trying to put a cockroach into the food.
Oh yeah, and she tries to dump it out of her thing.
Yeah.
The most. I know you don't want to touch the cockroach, but I think you need to do a little more subtle than that. Okay? Take your purse out and just try to do this. You're a very empty purse.
Right. Well, anyways, they get the idea. Robert Preston gets the idea, and I'm like, you know what? How about we have you be you'll pretend to be a man so you can be a female impersonator.
Yeah, he just comes up with it.
I'm
not sure. Oh no, it's because she ends up sleeping in his place.
Yes.
And she wears his
that's right,
not boyfriend's clothes,
yeah.
like just some boy toy clothes.
Yeah.
And she fits them really good.
Yeah.
And that's when you first see her, and I'm like, I mean, she's always Julie Andrews. She's pretty fucking stunning every time.
Yeah,
but she
absolutely.
looks really good in that outfit, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this works. And that's where he gets the idea.
Yeah.
She punches the boy toy.
Right. And so
he
goes to meet one of the agents or whatever, and that's played by John Rhys Davies, Sala from he was pretty good in the movie.
Yeah,
he's fine.
Good. Yeah, he's not in it super ton, but
no.
He's
but so he gets her hired, and she becomes an instant smash right away.
Yeah.
And then there is a guy in town named King, and he is like a Chicago gangster played by James Garner.
Yeah.
And he's also got a girlfriend, a mall, Leslie Ann Warren.
Yeah.
Plays her. He's already like, she's a fake because I'm attracted
to
her.
He sees her because every time the act ends, she takes off her wig.
So the whole time he thought it was a female, and then he didn't know.
You were just revealing you have shorter hair than we thought. Okay, right. I don't understand why that would make everybody think she's a dude.
No, but I think that
especially later on where she wears a real low cut dress and you can literally just see her boobs, and I'm like, they're right there. Okay.
but I think that was maybe a common thing that they did maybe back then.
Oh no, yeah, I think it's part of the
act.
It's part of the act.
You would perform as a female impersonator, and then afterwards you take off your wig to reveal. That
but in
I
this,
was
it's all supposed to
impersonating.
be like, oh my god, and I'm like, I think everybody went to that place knowing.
Well,
it
James
was
Garner
a drag
did not
place.
know.
He didn't know, but
He
everybody
did
else
not
also
know.
acted the same,
Right.
Like it was something.
Yeah, and then
well, he
there's-
didn't know. His girlfriend also hilarious because she was like sad because she saw he was staring at her for the whole first thing.
And then when she turned
and then
into
he
it,
goes,
it was
she's laughing.
yeah, she loved it. I do like that scene with her and Robert Preston when she's just like, "Really, you're gay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm gay," and
Yeah.
and she's like, "I think the right woman can reform you. I think the right woman can reform you." And it's like,
no, that's why
Yeah.
there's a lot of this movie that's fucking spectacular.
Yeah.
We haven't got to the part where I'm gonna have problems.
oh,
Okay.
James Garner stuff.
You
Okay.
you already know what it is. You have to know what it is. Okay, keep going.
Okay, anyways, yeah. So James Garner, he's really determined to prove that what she can't be, and obviously I don't know if it's because of his character. He's just like, I can't be gay. And it's like she has to
Well,
be
that's
a
the whole
woman.
thing is, it's people. This is written by people who don't understand what gay is.
Yeah.
Just because if I saw a dude walking away from me and he had long hair and I'm like, oh, look at that. And then I'm like, oh, it's a dude. Never mind. I wouldn't go, oh my God, maybe I'm gay. No, I thought it was hot because I thought it was a chick, you moron. That's not how gay works.
Yeah.
Okay?
Anyways, so he's trying to, and then his bodyguard or whatever, played by football play. Webster's dad.
Webster's dad.
Alex
Also,
Karras.
the biggest surprise.
He's awesome in the movie.
He's awesome in the movie. Also, he fully comes out in the movie.
and gay, yeah, and he has sex with
And
Robert
he's-
Preston.
Yeah, but this movie never has any type of gay kissing.
No.
It doesn't have the balls for that shit.
No. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's
No,
that
it's
bad.
not that. That's not my problem.
No, okay.
I understand it's 82.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just aren't going to have the balls for that.
Right.
If this movie was made in France, they would have had the
Oh,
balls
absolutely.
for it. Okay?
So anyways, yeah, so there's
It
going to
takes place in France and nobody ever speaks French.
So Julie Andrews falls for Chicago for Chicago King.
yeah.
Is that where you have the
she's
problem?
just hot. No, okay.
Okay, what's your problem? Just
My problem is later he's so positive.
yeah.
But he's also like so torn up.
Yeah.
He breaks into there and he's watches her
yes.
undress.
Yes.
He is a skeevy perv who breaks in and watches her to verify this shit.
Yes.
And I'm like, does that happen because James Garner required that? Because it's potential later on when they are actually enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
And then he kisses her and he actively says, I don't care if you're a man. And he kisses her. Boy, is that scene a trillion times better.
Yeah.
If he hasn't known.
Yeah.
But also they had
Yeah.
another way to do it.
Yeah.
He can see her. He can see her like room outside
Yeah.
of his thing.
Yeah.
If he had found out that way,
Okay.
I'm fine.
So you didn't like it that he
But
snuck
the fact
into
that he
her
snuck
bathroom.
in,
Got it.
and it's supposed to be this funny thing. What if people were watching you when you took
Yeah.
your next
Yeah.
shower,
No. Right. Yeah.
and then you never found out, but they kept talking to other people
Yeah.
about this? It's fucking awful.
Yeah.
It's really fucking awful.
It didn't bother me watching it. I mean, I understand the
No,
concerns now that you're saying it, but it didn't bother you.
I
Okay.
didn't remember it at all.
Didn't bother me
because I
watching it,
mean,
but yeah.
I'm different now, I guess, than I was when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I really was like, I knew James Garner showed up and
Yeah.
that he liked her, and then they ended up together.
Yeah.
But it really is that big. That scene is
Okay.
really
Okay.
problematic.
Okay.
It's a real problem. But the rest of this movie is really fucking
Yeah.
cool.
I think so. Yeah.
It's just, I really do
Yeah.
wonder if James Garner, because I know he had to be the man's man. James Garner was a man's man.
Yeah.
Okay?
Absolutely.
And so he had to be, if he needed that
Yeah, I'm
to
not
happen.
sure. I'm not sure.
Because
It'd be
there
interesting
is
to
the
find
later
out.
scene where he kisses her, and he himself even acts like at that point.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel like, did they wedge that into the
Yeah, I don't
thing
know. I'm not
later?
sure. But Blake Edwards, he's he's kind of the master of slapstick. So there's a lot of like, cakes and faces
And I
and
would
barroom
say
bras, which I think it's pretty fun.
50% of it works real good, and 50% of it is like, that was unnecessary. But
I
whatever.
still thought I like most of it.
The stool broken scene, for some reason, really fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
If they just meet,
Oh.
he sits down, he goes, and in the middle of the conversation, that stool's broken, huh?
Well, no.
Stool falls over.
Well, the thing that made that work. So this private investigator comes because he wants to investigate, and he goes to the
It's
bar
made
guy.
he's like hired by the gangsters.
Yes. So he comes in and he goes, I am very, very careful. And he sits down. He's like, that stool's broken. Boom!
Yeah.
I laughed really hard at that.
I laughed
thought
really
that
hard.
was
It
really
was
funny.
very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
funny.
No, I think Blake Edwards' direction is really good. The art direction of like 1930s Paris is fucking
The
great.
musical numbers are fucking
Musical
fantastic.
numbers are great. Blake Edwards and Julie Andrews were married. Blake Edwards
Oh.
made this movie for her.
Oh, really?
Yes, they made so since they got married in the late 60s. Since they were married, so from the 70s through the 80s, she only made 3 other films that weren't directed by Blake Edwards.
Oh, wow.
So she was in 10. She was in That's Life with Jack Lemmon, which is also Blake Edwards. She was in S.O.B., which was a year before, where she appeared topless in the movie. Julie Andrews did.
Oh.
That's the big deal about that movie, was that.
Oh, wow.
She's topless in the movie. She was in a thriller called The Tamarind Seed, directed by Blake Edwards in the 70s. Darling
Thriller
Lily.
by Blake Edwards?
Yeah, I heard it's not very good, but I'm curious to see it because it's one of those oddities. And then Darling Lily was the first movie they did together, which I really like. It's a musical from 1970. So he knows his wife. He knows how she's good, and they were married up until he died. So they were married forever. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
That's
so
cool.
it's a happy marriage. Blake Edwards, he knew how to showcase his wife, and that's what this movie is. The best thing about this film, it is a wonderful showcase for Julie Andrews.
Oh, yeah.
She's if you're
so
a Julie
fucking
Andrews
good
fan,
in it.
you need to see this movie
Yeah.
because
She's
phenomenal.
She's phenomenal
in the movie.
And actually, James Garner is good in it.
Oh, he's fine.
I just hate that.
He's probably my least favorite actor in the film.
Yeah.
I like Leslie Ann Warren, but Robert Preston is great. And Alex Karras is really good. But James Garner's fine.
I'm trying to think if Robert Preston, is he a supporting?
He was nominated for supporting actor,
I guess.
but it's
But he's-
almost a co-lead.
Yeah,
Even though James Garner is billed second, I would say Robert Preston is the second lead in this film. Yeah.
James Garner is at this point more of a pull.
Oh, he was
More of a theatrical.
Oh yeah,
pull.
for sure he was. No, and I think this is a really nice package of a film, and I would have loved to see this in the '90s on Broadway with Julie Andrews playing the part.
Damn, that would have been fucking
incredible as her reprising
That
the role.
would have been so cool.
Yeah. No, I think this movie works really well. I don't think it's because there's a lot of films from the 80s that tackle LGBTQ material, and you're like, I don't think this one's that. I don't think this one's
they use the F
respectful
word
enough.
a few times, but it's by people who would say that
And
word.
it's also in the 30s where they probably would have said that.
Actually, I'm not. I was one thing I was wondering. I'm like, I don't know when
They would say that
when
word.
that
Yeah, I
word
don't
popped
know.
up. I have
That's a
no
good
idea.
question.
Matter of fact, and he was like, we call ourselves gay, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure nobody called themselves gay until like the 60s. Okay, but whatever. Okay.
You queer? Just like, yeah. No, I think this movie is really good. So it's a 3.5 for me. I loved it. I think the musical numbers are great. Julie Andrews again singing is wonderful. The climax with Robert Preston and drag doing the final number. Oh, it's so great.
It's really cool.
It's really
it's
funny.
It's where you go like Robert Preston is really fucking good.
Yeah, I know.
And I wish he had more. He was
Yeah.
in MAME, but he was a really minor role in MAME.
right.
He really minor.
Yeah. No, I really like this movie, so I thought it was a good way to end the evening.
Okay,
so.
let's talk about some of the other things that are both really good.
Okay.
Because just literally the beginning of this, I'm like, okay, modernize. How much of this movie is going to be problematic? In the trans thing?
Yeah.
But cross-dressing and trans are very different things.
Yeah, I don't think.
It's not
I
really,
don't think this
there's
was
nothing-
disrespectful for that. I don't think so.
I
I was wondering if that was going to be problematic.
No,
I didn't find it
I
problematic.
couldn't find
I'm not
anything-
trans though, so I mean, maybe
I
someone
couldn't.
could have found
Yeah,
that.
maybe.
I mean,
I don't. Yeah, I couldn't see anything in my eyes either. Where I'm like, okay, I don't think anything offensive in that way.
No, I don't think
Just
so.
the creepiness when they do get together, and because she has told him right after he kisses her.
yeah,
She goes, "I am not a man," and then they kiss again. And actually, and that part of that whole scene was great. I don't care if you're a man. They kiss. I'm not a man. I don't care. He kisses anyway.
Yeah.
Doesn't care at that point.
Yeah.
Which makes me really think, did they add that other scene to make it so that he knew?
Yeah.
So he didn't kiss a man? Which I'm like, boy, this movie's so much better without that scene. Without that scene.
okay.
Or if he at least.
There were some funny moments during that whole mismatch. Though,
Well, no,
that
it's
thing.
a Blake Edwards funny thing
Yeah.
still. I understand.
Yeah.
And it does lead to the investigator guy is also in that same little closet.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
his finger gets pushed in there, which was funny too. But yeah, after they kiss, they have this long and then they sleep together.
Yeah.
They get in this long conversation.
Yeah.
And because now they're in love because it's Hollywood. Okay. They're in
Yeah,
love
yeah,
after
of
one
course.
fucking day.
Yeah.
Okay. They're having a conversation about how he's because she wants to still do this.
Yeah.
Because she's fucking famous.
Yeah.
She's a huge success, and he goes, but then people think I'm with a man.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And then she says stuff about him being a gangster. And he goes, I'm not a gangster. I'm just a businessman who works with gangsters. And I'm like, so what you're saying is you're not a gangster. You're just a businessman who works with a gangster. I'm not a man, but I'm a woman who plays a man who plays a woman.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
And he's just like, God damn, I really can't fight this argument.
Yeah.
And all that stuff was cool. And actually, I don't mind that she basically reveals in the end because she's doing it so that the gangsters don't kill him.
Yes.
That's what it really is for,
Yes.
why she does
Yeah.
it. That works too.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I'm like, I know she's going to end up with him. And I'm assuming she's going to reveal or something.
Yeah.
She doesn't truly reveal.
Yeah.
She says she's going to reveal. And then this Robert Preston does his thing. And I'm like, I guess the Duke, just like, or Earl or whatever his name was, just disappeared one day.
Yeah.
And then this woman who looks exactly like him, but in a dress, walking around all the time. Whatever. Okay. But no, I really want to think this movie is fucking. It's literally this close to a 3.5-star movie.
Okay.
But then it has that thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna
3?
bring it to a 3.
But you like it though.
I
That's
still
good.
love it.
Okay,
I still
good.
fucking love it.
Good.
And I
good.
do wish though they had figured out anything, and it does make me wonder if it was James Garner or if it was just Hollywood that did that.
Yeah. Wow. This episode. So for me,
This is some weirdly positive movies.
For
Except
me,
I didn't give Author a very good.
No,
because
I
it sucks.
I gave every.
Also, I gave Cat People 0 because it's fucking. It's hilariously awful.
I gave 5 out of the 6 movies 3 or higher.
Yeah.
So this is like one of the best episodes for me.
Yeah,
For
but
me,
then
I
you
really
have
liked
to.
it.
You just have to close your eyes when when we talk about Cat People. God damn, it's so funny.
But yeah, that was a fun episode. Okay,
Best actor. Oh God, I was sitting here and
I'm actually giving it to Pacino.
I'm giving it to Jack.
Okay,
well, there we go.
I was gonna give it to Jack.
While you were talking about Author and Jack, I'm like, I already knew we were gonna come up with this, and I'm like,
Okay,
I also knew you were gonna probably pick Pacino, and I'll probably pick Jack.
But my second would have been Jack because he's really good. And Harrison Ford is really good in Blade
Actress
Runner
is
too.
Julie.
But, yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy. Okay. Best actress would be Julie Andrews.
Yes, Julie Andrews.
Yes,
She's good. It's not even hard.
No,
it's not hard at all.
Supporting actor. Let's see.
Supporting
Okay.
actor.
This might be a little harder.
No, that's Robert Preston. That's Robert Preston. If we're giving it to supporting,
I'm thinking. I'm actually going to give it to Rutger Hauer for Blade Runner.
Rutger Hauer is really good.
Nope, I'm giving it to Rutger Hauer for Blade Runner.
Yeah, I have no problem. You go ahead.
No,
I'm gonna tell
Robert Preston
you can't pick on Robert Preston.
No, Preston.
He's so fucking amazing in that
Preston's
movie.
Great. And then I'm gonna give again her name for The Border. I'm gonna give it to Elpida Carrillo for Maria for The Border, supporting actress.
Supporting actress. Let me think here.
Unless you're gonna give it to Leslie Ann Warren. I mean, she's good in the movie.
She's good.
Ditzy,
She's good.
But I don't know. There's something about Maria in The Border.
I'm gonna actually give it to Daryl Hannah.
Oh, I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to argue that. No, she's awesome in the movie.
Yeah,
no,
I'm gonna have to give that to Daryl Hannah.
Blade Runner. No, that's a good.
I did weirdly put in Graham Stark.
Yeah.
From Victoria, who is the waiter. I had to find them because he's so fucking funny, and every time he just shows up at different places, and he's so good. But I'm like, I'm not going to move him above Robert Preston.
Oh yeah, so he's the
But goddamn, is he ever?
He
fucking
was the
hilarious
waiter when they were trying to get away with. And he shows up later in the film.
Yeah, like in 2 different places.
Yeah.
And he will like see Julie Andrews and like give her a double look.
Yeah.
And not be positive.
No, I'm with you on that. No, he was. I really liked him.
But the problem is in a movie with Robert Preston who's so fucking good. But really, if Robert Preston wasn't that good, I would weirdly give it to a guy who was in the movie for like 5 minutes. Okay. Because he's so fucking good.
Okay, so our next podcast is going to be December 9th, 1923.
Wow.
And
that's 90 years ago.
But guess what we're going to do?
It's over 90 years ago now.
Guess what we're going to do? Looking at the newspaper, in the Minneapolis newspaper.
The 2 theaters didn't have enough stuff?
We had there was 2 theaters that were showing movies in the 20s. So we're going to LA, baby.
We're going to LA.
We're going to LA, 1923, December 9th.
Just a minor tweaking.
So we're going to look at the Los Angeles Times paper next week to see some silent movies.
I mean, there's got to be like 30 papers in LA. We can look through them all.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm sure the LA Times will have
So
all
I'm looking forward to this. I know you're not as accustomed to watching silent movies as much. I don't think.
No, not
Except
much.
I took you to go see a silent movie.
We did.
We went to the Heights Theater to see Safety Last.
And that was fucking amazing.
It's amazing.
Which makes me somewhat afraid that all the other ones are gonna be shit. Mostly just random ones.
Yeah.
Okay?
We'll see what we can find. So that'll be. So tune into that. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening to us. If you want to contact us or send hate mail to filmgeektimemachine@gmail.com. We still haven't had any. I want some hate mail.
We'll get hate mail when we shit on cat people. And there's going to be the cat people fanboys out there.
No, it would have been
I like boobs!
if we gave. Oh, hold on. I know how we get hate mail. Blade Runner, 0 stars.
No, that's way too late. Yeah, we might get hate mail because we didn't shit on the narration enough.
We didn't. It wasn't that bad. It was
No, it wasn't that bad.
I can watch it
We're supposed
again.
to make it unwatchable.
No,
Like, that's
it wasn't
fucking terrible. I'm
unwatchable.
like,
No, it's still
actually,
Blade Runner.
Aspects of the thing might actually improve it.
Yeah.
To a slight degree.
Slight
and then
degree,
it kind of
slight
falls
degree.
apart. And then it kind
A
of
little
falls
bit.
apart. For a little bit, it's actually a good idea that didn't pan out. But.
Right. Okay, well, until... so I'm Austin Kennedy,
I'm Tim Kaiser.
and we'll see you next time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I'll have to come up with a new phrase so I can rip on you some more when you fuck it up.
Yay. All right, bye-bye.
Time machine.